Welcome to another Iron Fork of Friday, this May 9th, 2014. I'm Dan, joined by Fourth Oracle. Hello, Oracle!
As per usual. Hello, Dan.
You don't sound that excited.
That was my professional voice.
Are you
I'm
excited?
being professional about this. I am incredibly excited.
Today's a red letter day.
Yeah.
If I'm not, Rob shouldn't do this because I don't know if it'll kick him out of game or not. Or out of the lobby, rather. But if one would go over to the community tab at the top left, we're listed right at the top there as the current event. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That is incredibly exciting. With that being said, though, this is the Iron Forker Friday. It's a weekly cake event that happens on the button at 5 p.m. EST every single Friday. It's an open community event. Now, as you can see, the slots are all filled. But should a slot open up, you are free to join as you would like. Chances are, if you see a spot open, it's already closed, though, with the Twitch delay. But hey, you know what? Doesn't hurt to try.
Yep, and all you viewers watching have a chance to get in and play this. Though this is a community event, we do tend to pull a lot of really high-level people. So if you watch the tournaments, you see the competitive events, you see like Melon McCrabernathy is up, like you see him a lot. He's an amazing pilot. Jacob Fee as well, James D. Kirk.
We have some writers tonight too, including Delta Jug and Fred the Fifth, amongst other individuals. We did have Captain Phil join us as well for a moment there. Some writers as well. C3, C-Core. I'm not recognizing these clan tags, but you know what? This looks like it could be a very interesting first map of the Iron Forker Friday. Again, this is a public event. It does run about 2 hours or so, all throughout Friday afternoon and evening.
I'm looking at the clan. They're Clockwork Corsairs.
I
feel like I've heard them before. Only 5 people in it. I might have seen them around.
Never heard of them before myself. Should be interesting, though, to see what they can do.
Their clan, let's see, the description is, feel yourself threatened unless you are actually part of the Clockwork Corsairs, because you'll be pillaged, looted, and... I'm just going to leave that one.
Yeah. We also have the leader of Cake in with us, James Tiberius Kirk.
Yep, he shows up every so often. The founder of the cakes.
He is the cake.
The cake.
The cake.
Yeah, the cake clan started off with his squid. It was called the birthday cake. And that's where the clan started.
Oh, there we go. There we go. We also have Jacob Phi. Now, I don't know if you guys knew as well or not, but Jacob, because of his efforts with the Iron Forker Friday and promoting community events, has actually been bumped up to a moderator.
Oh, really?
Yes, he is a full moderator now, not just a CA.
Nice.
So congratulations, Jacob, on the on that little bump up in the community. He's earned it. He put a lot of work into the Iron Fork.
It really has been a fun event. It's nice that we get everything worked out for it. I think we've done it every single week. I think we may have missed one.
Because the time slot got a little funny on us, we did miss one or two. But beyond that, we've had it for quite a long time.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Number 24. It's been going for almost a year now. See.
Not a year. No way.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
We started last...
it's half a year. It's half a year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We started broadcasting it last November, I do believe. Last November or last December. It was about...
Wow, 6 months though. Seriously, that's pretty cool.
That's a lot.
That is it indeed. Well, I guess like numbers are just relative. Anyway, we have all the ships full. Captains still working out what they want their crews to do. Let's check it out. So the Alexandria, I wonder. So the first map is going to be Canyon Ambush. These tend to be pretty action-packed in the Iron Fork, just because so much more DPS comes out in a 3v3.
Oh yes,
and so people are either more aggressive or more defensive. Usually more aggressive, which is kind of funny because we have a Spire in here.
One thing I'm noticing about the blue team right now, looking over all their ships, 2 galleons and a goldfish, They're all built for very close range brawling.
Yeah, and that's a
Very
total of
close.
9 medium guns.
Yep.
On that team.
Yep. And
That is a
half
lot
of
of
those
firepower.
9, just over half those 9, are carronades, heavy carronades.
Oh, good golly, Miss Molly. Well, let's see.
That's a lot of shotguns.
Against? They have Devil's Food, which is going to be running. Let's see. Yep, running a pretty standard loadout of Typhon Lumberjack Port with the Hades, and then a Brawling Starboard. Then the Circumspect. What's Circumspect? So the Circumspect is going to be a Carronade Spire.
Oh my god.
These are really goofy. I never really see them do too well, just because the if they do rise up to the very top of the map, if the other ship rises up too, it's very difficult for that carronade to hit. So it can be kind of difficult. Still, though, they have a flamethrower on that lower side, so even if they can't hit the enemy with the carronade, they can get the gunner onto that flamethrower instead and start lighting fires. So makes sense.
Now, what is going on with the flamethrower right now?
The flamethrower just recently got a huge buff. It got a huge buff, and then it subsequently got nerfed after everyone very quickly realized that it was ridiculously overpowered, because apparently it did more damage. It did a huge amount of damage to the hull with the damage increase, which is ridiculous. A flamethrower shouldn't be killing ships like that. It's a disabling weapon.
Sure.
And so they nerfed it a little bit, but still, it's been put in a really, really good place. It puts a lot more stacks of fire on enemy ships a lot faster.
Actually, in Cake News as well, speaking to some of the membership over the last week or so, apparently B'Elanna has indeed rejoined Cake.
Oh, really?
That's good news. That's very good news. B'Elanna is an excellent engineer, one of the best playing this game right now. And she has an excellent mind for organization.
She was kind of one of the backbones of Cake, and it started falling apart without her. But, man, she's such a good engineer. Like, when I think of engineers, I think of 3 different things. I think of the coordination of the Mandarin ships, but I think of 2 engineers in particular, and that's B'Elanna and Praxedis. If you don't know who Praxedis is, she's one of the engineers for the Gents team.
Yes. There we go.
There we go.
Red team is already up.
Names.
What's that?
I could have been one of those names if I just stuck with it.
No.
Oh, yeah, I could. I'm amazing. I'm the best at everything.
Would you have wanted to be a famous engineer or a famous pilot, though? I ask you this.
I like both.
You love your goldfish.
Really
do.
I love my goldfish, but at the same time, back when I was on Matasamo's ship, one of the best pilots I've had the pleasure with flying under, I was his deck chief.
Yep.
Yeah,
there we go.
Good.
That is Canyon Ambush. We're getting into it. I'll go ahead and introduce this first one. I'll take a turn.
Go ahead.
Canyon Ambush, the top and the bottom of the map, the north and south sides of the map are both very open. They're good medium to long range engagement points. And then the center of the map, the absolute center of the map, the bulk of it, is mostly for tight range brawling. It's got a lot of canyons. It's got a lot of very tight corridors. It's hard to maneuver at times. Mine placement can be critical, as well as grounding out. Because if you've suddenly lost control of your ship, chances are you're going to be hitting a wall of a canyon or the bottom of a canyon, something like that. Getting into the ship loadouts, here we have first off the Circumspect, piloted by Jacob. It's a Carronade Spire with mine launcher, flamer, and mortar, double barrel mortar support. We also have the Pastry Prize, piloted by James Tiberius Kirk. That's his signature ship right there, and he has tricked it out. It's a Blenderfish. Carronade on the front with a Banshee and a Flamer on the side. And we have, lastly, on the red side of things, the Devil's Food, piloted by Xander Brode. We have on the right-hand side of things, as someone jumps off the ship to their almost certain demise, that's Shattuck Shademore. Oh, no, that's not good. Right-hand side, Hwacha and a Carronade. Left-hand side is a Lumberflak, a Lumberjack and Flak cannon combination with Hades support on the left, and on the back, we have a Flare.
And for the blue team, aboard the Deflationary Policy, a Goldfish being piloted by Melimnik Krabanathi. We have yet another Blenderfish. Might be seeing some Blenderfish duels with a pair of flamethrowers to complement. Aboard the Alexandria, a galleon being piloted by Haliafara, a familiar name. We have a Carronade and Hwacha on the port side with a mortar to support, and another Carronade Hwacha on the starboard, and another mortar on the back. And aboard the HMS Orinoco, got to make it quick, we have a double Carronade and Banshee on the port side with a double Hwacha on the starboard and a flamethrower on the back. Already they've engaged each other. The Pastry Prize has lost its balloon.
This is moving quickly already. The Pastry Prize getting obliterated. The Orinoco and the deflationary policy moving in after the balloon pop from the Alexandria. Now the Devil's Food is taking a barrage straight from the Hwachas on the Alexandria. Bad start for the red team first off. They get obliterated. James Tiberius Kirk, very aggressive, always very aggressive. Getting that used to his disadvantage, though, with that balloon pop and just sailing right into the clutches of the other two blue ships.
Yep, Devil's Food dropping down right now, able to maneuver its way around this rock spire, maybe able to get away just barely, focusing on those engines in the hull just to keep itself going. Deflationary policy, a little bit more maneuverable, maybe coming in to try and hit the Devil's Food, but the Pastry Prize is once again coming in, respawned, fresh and ready.
This is definitely an action-packed one so far, folks. The Circumspect sitting very low, having lost its balloon again. A fire or two having to be dealt with. They're throwing out some mines to throw off the Orinoco, but they're not in range. Circumspect bumps, flamethrower all over. Carronades doing the damage as well. It gets taken out. My goodness.
However, with the deflationary policy going in to finish off the Circumspect, he's left the Alexandria all alone with the Devil's Food and the Pastry Prize. It's dropping and bouncing against the geometry. Balloon's back up. Gonna go down almost immediately, though. There it is. They need to just keep the armor up. They have bumpers up to reduce that damage they're taking from bumping against the geometry.
It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage, though. Carronades ripped through that armor once more by hitting the popped balloon. Hull, almost nothing left on it, but they do keep things together. And now the deflationary policy is actually, although it's the aggressor on the Pastry Prize, it has taken a little bit of damage, giving a Goomba Stomp on the Pastry Prize. Big Goomba Stomp, but not enough.
Yep, it just barely bumped him, but the Pastry Prize has managed to move its way away. Orinoco moving in, trying to hit the Pastry Prize, but it's going to get in the way of the deflationary policy, and I think this may quell this chase.
This is... The blue team had a very good opportunity to take out the Pastry Prize again, but now the Alexandria, still limping from the previous engagement, gets hit by the Circumspect. Having come back very quickly into this fight, Alexandria is getting hammered. Balloon repeatedly popped. Balloon could go down here again in just a few seconds. Mortar shots going out. Mines actually going out as well. Jacob is not relenting at all against the Alexandria. He wants that first kill for the red team.
Nope, not at all. In the meantime, the Orinoco getting the worst end of the Devil's Food, which honestly is, that is the starboard side. Okay, Devil's Food does have that long-range side, but he's using that brawling side to great effectiveness. Orinoco burning a little bit of hydrogen to get up and out of the way to repair itself as the deflationary policy comes in to take its place. However, the Pastry Prize is coming in to try and lock him down. This is looking a bit difficult for the blue team over here.
A very tough situation right now. Blue team had a very good start to this game, but it looks like because they've gotten so badly split up and targeted individually, they can't get any kind of advantage.
Yep, Circumspect having a little bit of trouble with the Alexandria here. Gets the bump, throwing out the flamethrower. The hull is exposed, no chem spray on it. So that flamethrower is going to do a lot of damage.
It's always a good idea. Oh my goodness.
Where's the mortar? Carronade's going to do a fair bit to the hull.
There it is, there it is,
but the armor's up. Armor comes up just in time. Alexandria bumps. Armor's up and good, but a deflationary policy in the meantime, getting the worst of the Pastry Prize. Oh, but the Pastry Prize bumps. This may be the chance that the deflationary policy needs.
This is very back and forth here. The Circumspect has had a field day so far in the last few minutes with the Alexandria. An absolute field day. But deflationary policy with that exceptional balloon popping could turn that around here pretty quickly. Bumps coming in from the Devil's Food on the Alexandria. They're trying to crush it. They are trying to crush the other galleon with their sheer weight, and it looks like the carronades as well.
Yep, Devil's Food getting the bump. They have the long-range side facing them, though. That's not what they want, and the Circumspect is having trouble keeping Arc for some reason. Orinoco coming in for a ram. Takes down the armor quick. Holy cow. Seeing a Galleon ram aspire is the most brutal thing in the world.
That was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
One word for it. Alexandria a bit low to try and help here. Deflationary policy gonna bump the Devil's Food, but it brings down the armor and deals a fair bit of damage to it.
The problem is deflationary policy tried to use its hull to bump. You must not use your hull. Well, you can. You can use your hull to ram and deal damage, but it's very risky. It's so much better to use that nose cone on the balloon.
Yeah, absolutely. Pastry Prize going to get rammed against the wall. Deflationary policy still ramming with its hull. Going to take a fair bit of hull damage there. Armor comes back up, and it's going to have to move around, but the Pastry Prize is now facing it. Going to load that carronade into the balloon and into the hull.
Great shots on the deflationary policy there. It nearly took out the deflationary policy. Pastry Prize had a really good shot on that.
Yeah, but it's dropping now. Its balloon's gone. Deflationary policy doing what it can to hold down the Devil's Food and Pastry Prize, but the Circumspect, Circumspect is going to go down. Because the Devil's Food and the Pastry Prize were locked down, it allowed the Alexandria and the Orinoco to deal with that Circumspect. Now the Devil's Food is under heavy fire. Finally, that long-range side getting some use.
Now there's one weapon that's really dominated this fight so far, and it's
there's no long-range.
The heavy carronade has really been a major factor so far in this fight, with so many balloon poppings going down. Devil's Food gets rammed by... Oh, God, who was that? Oh, my God. The deflationary
policy rammed it and fell apart, but that took down the armor and allowed the Orinoco to use the Banshee to pick up the kill. Banshee does a surprising amount of hull damage if you let it. It's somewhere in between the Echidna and the Mortar when it comes to range. Pastry Prize getting better with the Orinoco, but look at those carronade shots. Taking out the medium gun on the Pastry Prize and the balloon, bringing it down, doing some serious hull damage. Good thing they got their armor up so quickly, but now it's down. Whoa. There it is. Carronade doing that last bit of damage.
That was the first point for the blue team in this game.
No, it was a little bit before. Wait, was it?
I believe that was. They've just... red team, I'm sorry.
Red team. Yeah, I was just like, wait, blue team? Red team. Alexandria taking fire from the Circumspect. Circumspect really is having a lot of trouble dealing with ships. I mean,
oh, God!
Ooh. Alexandria getting thrown off there.
Wow! Oh. Devil's Food with the very solid ram, using the big nose cone of the balloon on the galleon to deal a load of damage and allowing the Circumspect to finish him off. 2-6 in favor of the blue team. One more red ship goes down, rather, and the blue team will have their first win. Oh, my God.
There it is. I believe that was the Circumspect going down. It was having a really hard time with that wall side.
Wow.
Yeah. That was intense. That is the Iron Fork for you.
You know, normally we expect pretty decent play during the Iron Fork. Obviously, they let pubs into the game. It's a public event. That was really top-notch, though, all things considered. There was a lot of control going on, a lot of chaos. Both teams kind of struggling to maintain control of their own formations of ships, getting split up at times. But great play. Amazing play so far to start off today's Iron Fork.
That was fun. Those Galleon Rams are always fun. That doesn't happen much in competitive play. You see it done by Puppy Fur sometimes. Oh, good golly.
Fight over Fernfeld. Death match.
Okay. For a second, I was thinking that this was the Crazy King. I'm like, no. Okay.
No.
Those take forever. They're fun, but they take forever.
They do. That being said, thank you everyone for joining us here on twitch.tv/The Rob and Dan Show. We are so glad you decided to join us.
Yes, indeed.
Whew, that was a very intense first game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually expect it to be that whew.
Well, you don't expect it to be that intense when you see so many galleons, because galleons are slow. They take their time to get in there. But those goldfish really greased the gears and got things turning quickly.
And then galleon rams happened.
Yeah, and then yeah, it's just like galleon. You don't usually expect them to ram because it's usually easy to dodge. But I mean, when the target's a spire, what's it gonna do?
Absolutely. That's I'm having trouble finding words for what just happened because I'm still a little blown away.
It definitely comes up more in pub matches. I'll give it that. It's like the galleon itself is its own weapon.
Much like we've seen the well, I'm not sure it's the same at all, but kind of like how we've seen the Pyramidion become its own weapon at times.
Well, yeah, I mean the Pyramidions built for it.
Mm-hmm.
It can do it really easily. Galleon, not so much. When it's ramming, it doesn't have any forward-facing guns, so you're usually like, if you ever see a ram, it's usually against like an incapacitated ship that its ally had incapacitated, or it's a desperate bid, or it's just a not very mobile ship. I mean, even the Junker can get out of the way usually, but a Spire, nuh-uh. No way.
However, the mass and momentum that can be involved in a galleon ram can be extremely destructive. That's a lot of mass. A lot.
Yeah, that's kind of important to note for those of you maybe not familiar with the game. Each of these ships does have its own mass coded into it. And so if you have a little squid go in and ram something, it's more likely to bounce off and do more damage to itself than it is to the other ship. But if you have a galleon ramming, no, that's a pretty hefty ship. Pyramidion, also a very heavy one as well, built for that ramming. So they'll do a lot more damage and they'll be a lot more stable if they're the ones doing the ramming.
Getting started here with the next map. We're still waiting for a majority of the captains to ready up, including the red team entirely. Blue team seems to have a bit better, or feels like they have a bit better grasp, rather, over exactly what's going on.
I'm looking at the C3 clan.
I just started looking at the chat and got really distracted. League of Leggings? Okay. I'm confused.
You're looking at the Heart of Gold. It's interesting. Like, they have 2 galleons and a Junker. That's something I kind of like about this setup, is it's impossible to sneak up on them. I mean, you have guns bristling everywhere.
Oh, yes.
Like, there's no way you're going to come into the blind spot of this team. Heart of Gold is going to be a bit more brawly. Interesting build. They have Banshee Gatling on both sides. I'm generally not a big fan of having the same gun loadout on either side, though.
Yep.
But like I said, it is going to make it very difficult to sneak up on these ships.
Beside the fact that they don't really have any variation going on, what do you think about the Banshee Gatling combination? I like it.
I think it's fine. I mean, I don't really have too many qualms against it. If you load up Lesmok, as long as you're a gunner, I don't like that they have the Banshees on the bottom deck.
I was going to say, I do believe the Banshee should be on the top deck.
Yeah, the reason for this is, so you have the Banshee. It's medium range. I mean, it says short range, but really it can be pretty accurate up to a certain point. It falls somewhere in between the Echidna and the Mortar when we're talking hull damage. So the gunner usually goes in the bottom deck because he really only has one system that he's dealing with, the main engine, and then he has a couple of guns. Then you have the person up front who's doing the front gun. He deals with the hull usually. And as well as the person that's on the 4 and 5 slots up on the top deck. He deals with turning engines and balloon. Now, the Banshees don't really need more than one kind of ammo. I mean, if you have burst ammo with it, it's great. I think or greased. Like burst or greased would be good.
They don't really need anything else to make them decent at what they do.
So yeah, you take either burst or greased on it. I like most people say greased. Burst is fine too if you're going for more disabling.
Sure.
But but then the Gatlings you usually want like you may want multiple ammo types on it. I'd say you want it more on the Gatlings. You want more ammo types on the Gatlings than the Banshee. I guess it's not a big deal if you're running 3 engineers, which they are.
That's true. I mean, if you're gonna run 3 engineers, it doesn't really matter where you put them. It doesn't really matter where you put the guns.
I left the match. Oh god.
Oh no.
I got back in.
I didn't even see you leave.
Hee. I'm here.
That was ninja-like.
I don't know. I guess I'm operating under the assumption. Still though, if someone said, okay, you only have 1 gun that's shooting at a time, so then okay, so what kind of gun would you want? Would you want the Gatling shooting or would you want the Banshee shooting? So the Banshee is one of the more unique weapons in the game where you can pretty much fire it anytime you feel like. Because if you shoot, it's going to light fires, but if the armor is down, cool, I can deal hull damage too. So it's sort of one of those weapons that you can just sort of fire willy-nilly when you see the enemy. And that means that you probably want that gun up more than the Gatling. And when you're on the top deck, you have a lot that you have to deal with. So you're probably going to, those guns are going to be down for longer on the top deck.
Mm-hmm. Because the engineers need to deal with things, whereas bottom deck, it's more dedicated, okay, I'm going to be firing these guns. All right, we're getting into the map here. Fight over Fernfeld. It is the deathmatch version of the map. Go ahead and tell us about it, Oracle.
It's big. It's open. Not too much cover. There's a little brawling section in the center, but it doesn't really get used a whole lot. But other than that, like high flight ceiling, big open areas, definitely favors sniping generally. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, what more is there to say about Fernfeld?
There really isn't. Getting into it here as I try to pull up that. There we go. The first ship, once again, is the Circumspect, piloted by Jacob. It has a lumberjack on it this time, though. That is a lumber spire with a mine launcher, Hades, and flak cannon support. Very good setup. Very destructive. We also have the Pastry Prize, piloted by James Tiberius Kirk. It's a Blenderfish. Carronade front with Banshee on the right and Flamer on the left. No change. We also have the Alexandria, finishing up the red team lineup, piloted by Halia Farron. On the right-hand side, we have a Hwacha and a Carronade. Left-hand side, Hwacha Carronade as well, with mortar support on the side and mortar support on the back.
And for the blue team, aboard the VSS Devil's Food, we have a galleon being piloted by Xander Broda. It is a flak and lumber side on the port with a Hades to complement, so lots of long range, and a Hwacha Carronade on the starboard, along with a flare gun on the back for utility. Aboard the Heart of Gold, a Junker being piloted by Shy Sky. We have a Banshee and Gatling on the port side and starboard side, with a flamethrower up front, and aboard the HMS Orinoco, a galleon being piloted by Captain Phoenix. We have a double flak port side with the Hades, interestingly enough, and a double Hwacha on the starboard, and a Carronade on the back. Obviously, this person has their favorite long-range and short-range guns. Alexandria, already losing its balloon, getting hit quite a bit.
That's actually the second balloon pop they've had, too. They've been struggling with that lumberjack so far on the Devils, who just lost their balloon intermittently as well. Red team starting to come up against the Devil's Food and putting some very serious pressure on. Balloon goes down again on the blue ship. Alexandria, though, still taking some pretty substantial damage. Heart of Gold loses its balloon as well, brawling a bit with the Alexandria. Alexandria loses its armor. Hull damage starting to be taken by that galleon. Pastry Prize really putting the pressure on the Devil's Food, though. If the Devil's Food can't get a hold, can't get control back of this game, oh my goodness. Watches all over the place. Fluffy is just having a field day right now. Although she is not in game, I'm sure she's smiling. Pastry Prize getting obliterated by those Hwachas. That could be the first kill of the game once again.
Yep, it's possible. Flak goes high. Right now, Pastry Prize is rising, but the Devil's Food is going to put a stop to that. Picking up the kill in the Pastry Prize. And that's going to leave the Alexandria in a very open, dangerous position at half hull. Already, long-range fire starting to rain in from the Orinoco. They're wasting no time at all.
The big thing to talk about so far here is the combination of the Hades, the Flak, and the Lumberjack. You can do pretty much anything with that combination at mid to long range, especially if your accuracy is high. Alexandria taking immense amounts of damage, crossfire from both the Orinoco and the Heart of Gold, obliterating it. Red team has been forced backwards because of dead ships. Not a good situation.
Now the Circumspect going to be the next target. It can back up if it wants to. I don't feel like there's any real reason. Flak just barely missing. Ooh. Holy cow. Those Flaks are just barely going wide. One lands, armor comes back up just before the second one does. That was terrifying to watch. Like that is 3 flat cannons firing at a single ship and going wide every time.
Circumspect caught the ground. It caught the ground as it was retreating. It has lost all its momentum. It's forced to have turned right now. It just turned. It's backing up again. It might not get out of this one, though. It's in a very bad position.
Maybe Flak's reining in. It's meant for hull, but it can do a fair bit to the armor as well.
Pastry Prize is sweeping in on the Devil's Food. They just got spotted, though. Pastry Prize and Kirk are trying to use this cloud cover to their advantage, but they got spotted as soon as they broke cloud cover. Long-range fire is slinging in at them just en masse. Goodness gracious.
Yep, right now, blue team has a really nice pair of sniping galleons that have a lot of kill potential. And their gunners are proving to be fairly accurate, but excuse me, if any of these ships come in, the Heart of Gold is going to be able to deal with them very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Devil's Food with this combination of Lumberjack, Flak. Oh my goodness, this is the one. Lumberjack, a heavy Flak, and Hades all firing the same direction. Now the reason this combination works so well, first off, you have the Hades. The Hades is a fantastic weapon for not just breaking components and setting fires, but breaking armor as well. Pastry Prize getting eaten alive by all of those blue ships at once. Alexandria now caught in the crossfire as well. In addition to that, the Hades is a light gun. It can fit on a lot of different ships. Oh my goodness!
Big ram going down to the Orinoco, but the Alexandria is going to get the worst of it. Probably because Devil's Food raining in fire. That Flak does so much hull damage.
We'll talk about We'll go and talk about the Flak next. The Flak does immense amounts of damage to enemy hulls. Oh goodness!
Like
Circumspect
that?
Getting obliterated.
Circumspect made a huge misstep coming in to try and save the Alexandria in a 3v1 situation, but with its back against the wall like that, and every single ship already having their arcs on it, there was nothing that it could do. I think that was a really big misstep. Still, though, they're going to spawn close to one another. I think the red ships are going to have one last charge, and they got to make it count. They have to break up the blue team's formation.
I don't think I'd charge if I were them, but that's just me. Anywho, the heavy Flak cannon, great against hulls. Has a lot of pop. Even at some of the closer ranges, if you load the right ammunition, great against hulls. Not so great against armor. Pretty crappy against armor, to be honest, but great against hulls. And the last gun in the trifecta combination we've seen is the Lumberjack, the very heavy mortar. Great for balloon popping. Great for destroying and slowing down a specific ship in an enemy advance and making sure they're not a part of the problem for the next few seconds at least. Now, popping a balloon, it may not seem like much, may not seem like you're doing much damage, but it does mean a world of difference when it happens at the right time.
Yeah, when you're talking about balloon popping weapons, you're usually talking about disable. Now, it's faster to disable a ship than it is to kill it.
Sure.
And the importance of that is you can disable one ship, then start focusing down on another. And that ship has to take the time to try and get itself back up. Not only does it have to repair the balloon, but then it has to stop its downward momentum and start rising. But since the balloon comes back damaged, it takes a long time to actually rise up to the point where you can fight again. Already, fire raining down on the Alexandria, which is leading the charge. I gotta agree with having the Alexandria lead, but the Circumspect is so far behind.
The Circumspect just isn't doing anything in this situation right now. It's firing some long-range shots on the Devil's Food, but they're a minor distraction at best. Lumberjack does take the balloon out on the Devil's Food, but time and a place for that kind of thing, and it's just not meaning much. Alexandria is going down very quickly. Armor getting ripped to shreds once again. Hull is exposed. They get eaten alive. One more kill for the blue team, and they sweep this one. Pastry Prize losing their armor. Just barely getting it back up. It goes down again. Hull is exposed once more. It looks like Kirk is trying to use bumpers to lessen the damage from some of these explosive shots, but it's just not doing enough. There's too much fire. Flak is coming in. There it is. It's just not enough.
Oh my God. There we go. Banshee's going to finish it off. I gotta say, I kind of like that Gatling Banshee combination. I know it used to be more popular than it is, but I can see it making a comeback.
It's crazy.
I think, with the new popularity of Chem Spray, I could see the Banshee being a really powerful option.
Absolutely. The Banshee, it does surprising amounts of damage. It may not seem like a very heavy shot, especially compared to something like, a double barrel mortar in a light gun spot, which just eats Hull alive. But it does do some pretty decent damage.
Well, here's my thought. When you pair it with a Gatling, suddenly the engineers have to go and start repairing the armor instead of keeping up the cycle on all their components. So the moment that Chem Spray goes down, then you can start lighting fires of that Banshee pretty quickly, and it can start causing chaos really quickly. And even if everything is Chem Spray, if the armor goes down, they can start getting kills. Basically, Gatling Banshee is a nightmare for engineers.
It is. Combine it with flamethrower activity, which forces your engineers to be incredibly paranoid. It's just, it's not a fun time. It's not a fun time in Guns of Icarus to be an engineer. If you're an engineer right now, I'm sorry.
Yep, the meta is not shifting in a very happy way for the engineers.
No, it sucks for them, I'm going to be honest.
Though, I think that with the addition of Chem Spray into the meta, like with Chem Spray becoming even more popular than it already was, it's going to definitely allow engineers to showcase their abilities. Like, how well can they keep the Chem Spray going? Can they keep the timers running in their head, making sure that, I need to repair this, but this also needs to be Chem Sprayed and the flamethrower is coming in. I think that in due time, we are going to see even better engineers than we do now, just because more is going to be demanded of them.
And I will say this too, a lot of the clans, a lot of the major clans really do try to push their engineers to the furthest possible method, the furthest possible limits of training, as one might say. Especially groups like the Ducks, as you would speak for the Gents, and Overwatch as well. They really do push their engineers.
Yeah. I'd say they push their engineers more than anyone else. The Gunners, they tend to be, there's a specific reason. Gunners and pilots, like Gunners and pilots, have to work well with one another, because the pilot has to make sure that he's not moving too much. He communicates with his gunner. He's saying, "Okay, I'm slowing down. Get ready to fire. The moment you are comfortable, take the shot." Or he orders them to shoot as soon as the ship is slowed down, to make sure that they can land it easy. But the engineers, they constantly need to be communicating with one another, saying that they need to take down, bring up something that went down. Like, you take, on the Goldfish, for example, you might have someone say, "Okay, you go take the main engine and that whole area back there. I'll take everything up here." The coordination that needs to happen from the engineers is massive. Like, sometimes it's as simple as like, "Okay, I'm going to repair the hull. I'm going to repair it before you can get here. So just keep repairing components." It can be as simple as that. But when you're talking about like really intense fights that we have in Guns of Icarus, those few seconds of efficiency,
it means a lot.
Life and death.
I think there's another reason behind it, and this is probably me being a little tinfoil hat, but you'll have to bear with me here.
Okay.
A little tinfoil hat time.
All right, I'm putting it on.
Okay. There are only so many places you can put a pilot or a gunner. Correct?
Yes.
Only certain ships have pilots or gunners. There are some ships that only have engineers on them. So quite naturally, if you're going to be a pilot or a gunner, you have to be able to step up your gameplay to the next level, even just to be those classes. Because otherwise, you're just not going to be useful. So, when it comes to engineering, if you're not good at one of those other things, the game brute forces you to be an engineer, even with just how the meta is made. So, essentially, everyone's an engineer, and then some people are very good at either a pilot or a gunner and take up those roles instead. So, the difference of a great engineer to a really great engineer is whether or not you can step up your game to the point past that everyone else in the community has already reached. The competition for those really exceptional engineer slots is so competitive. There are so many people trying to have access to those really high engineer slots that you have to be able to step your game up past almost anything else we see normally. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that your tinfoil hat?
No, that absolutely makes sense. Like, piloting and gunning are very specific things, but everyone can engineer. And so there's even more pressure on the engineers to do really well at what they do, because they do have to prove that they are above and beyond everyone else, like in the competitive scene. So, we are getting into the third map, and Dan, here we go.
It's
Desert Scrap.
It's time. It's time.
This is our favorite. This is our favorite part of King of the Hill. This is our favorite part of the Iron Fork. Is this?
Please introduce the map. Tell us about it.
Desert Scrap is kind of goofy. It's big and wide open, but none of that matters because this is a King of the Hill map. There is only 1 point, and both teams are vying for it. It is a very constricted area inside of this massive ship, the Leviathan. It's a big ship, not a lot of room to move around in it. Plus, you have dust storms that come in every so often, right over the point, damaging components. And if you drop into that pit, down into all that geometry, there's a very good chance that you're not coming back up.
Absolutely. And then at the very bottom of that pit, you have the Sarlacc. Let's get into ship loadouts here very quickly. Piloting the Prevaricative. I'm just going to Prevaricative. I don't care how it's actually pronounced. Jacob Phi is piloting that junker. On the left-hand side of things, we have Flamer Carronade. On the front, we have a Flamer. And the right side, Carronade Mine. Oh, double mine launcher. Oh, dear.
Whoa.
The VSS Cupcake, which is already on the point, piloted by James Tiberius Kirk. It is the Cupcake. It's a squid. Front of it is a Banshee. Side is a Banshee. Back is a Banshee. And the Rising Sun, it's a Pyramidion, first Pyramidion of the day, piloted by Shy Sky. We have a Banshee on the front and a Flamer Banshee on the side.
And how about the blue ships? Because my game bugged out.
All right, blue ships. The Devil's Food, piloted by Zeta Broda. Left-hand side is lumber flak combination, heavy flak and lumberjack, with Hades on the side and Flare. And then the right-hand side is a Huacha Carronade. And then on the Alexandria, piloted by Haliafaran, left-hand side is Carronade Huacha with mortars on the support rolls. And the right-hand side are Huachas and Carronades as well. And the last ship for the blue side of things, piloted by Captain Phoenix, is the Orinoco. Carronades on the left with Banshee and Flamer in support roles. And the right-hand side are Huachas.
So while all of that was going down, the squid managed to get up to the point, cap it, get 61 points for its team. But then the Devil's Food and Alexandria came in, completely destroyed the squid. Not much maneuverability, like not much chance to use that maneuverability in this Leviathan area. And so the close range galleons made quick work of it, and now they have taken the point, and points are starting to tick toward the blue team. You must hold the point for a total of 600 seconds, and each second you get a point. So 600 points to win. And already, red team only got 60, and the blue team has some really nice control of it. This is looking pretty good for the blue team.
Oh, those Hwacha shots. Rising Sun taking a little bit of fire there from the Alexander Devil's Food. Cupcake, though, coming in with some big bumps all over the place, rocking those galleons out of position while the Rising Sun gets in behind the Alexandria. The Devil's Food is going to have to assist its ally in this situation, or the Rising Sun is going to use that Banshee Gat to eat the Alexandria alive.
And we talked about it earlier. The Squid is not a very massive ship, but the Rising Sun is doing a good job of taking out the armor of the Alexandria. Cupcake, though, in a tight spot. Can the Rising Sun take out the Alexandria before the Cupcake goes down? Hwacha goes out. Cupcake managing to keep its engines up, but the Orinoco comes in from behind to assist the Alexandria. Now the Alexandria has to try to hold on. Now the question is, can the Rising Sun kill the Alexandria before it itself gets killed? The answer is no.
Nope.
Very quickly gets taken down between the fire of the Orinoco and the Devil's Food. Rising Sun just could not stay alive.
Tough situation. Now the Prevaricative is going in all solo. And this is not going to work out in its favor.
Prevaricative coming in, trying to make something happen. They're trying to take back the point, but these red ships are coming in one at a time. This is not going to work. Coming up right on the Alexandria, Hwacha goes out on the Prevaricative.
Especially against 3 galleons. They aren't maneuverable in the least, but they have a lot of weapons. If you go in one at a time, you're just going to fall right into exactly where they've set up their kill zone. You have to go in all at once and overwhelm them.
I think it's not necessarily, Cupcake goes down again. Not really able to make a whole lot happen. Prevaricative goes down too. I gotta be honest with you, Dan. I don't think it's necessarily that the galleons have a lot of guns. It's that they have so many galleons that they can keep as many of them pointed in any direction that they want. Rising Sun gonna go down quickly to the combined fire of the Alexandria and the Orinoco. Pretty much no matter where you are on the point at this point, you're going to have a galleon facing you. Like, if you were to draw fire arcs over the whole point, it would all be red.
Yeah.
All of it.
Sure.
Or I guess blue, if you were to color those arcs blue.
But don't you think that if the red team were to go in all at once and force the galleons to start turning and pivoting to try and get better firing arcs, it would give them a much better situation to win?
If those red ships could move in and take out the balloons of those galleons, that would be it, I think. I'm not sure that they have the capability of it, though. I gotta question the Cupcake's build. James T. Kirk, excellent captain, but 3 Banshees? I'm not so sure about that. I feel like that the Banshee alone is good, but relying on it completely is not going to do you a whole lot of good. Rising Sun, they also, they have a Banshee Gatling. There's nothing that can really pop these galleons as balloons.
It looks like the red team is going directly in on the Orinoco. First off, the Orinoco has overextended outside the point of influence. Cupcake and Rising Sun already on top of it. Cupcake going right in, hitting a big bump.
Takes down the armor. No hull damage, though. That's really important to note. Cupcake lost its armor, not its hull. How are its engines looking? They're looking just fine. Hwacha comes out, and they disable all of them. So that went from being okay to extremely not okay very quickly.
I believe boned is more the term. The Prevaricative is somehow surviving. I'm not sure exactly how the Prevaricative lived through what it just experienced.
Prevaricative gets bumped. Rising Sun eating some serious carronade fire right now.
Absolutely brutal.
Yep, Devil's Food doing a good job of taking out those front guns. That's really what they're aiming for on the Rising Sun, are those front guns. Armor goes down. Hwacha going to be enough. Alexandria comes right through. However, it does put itself in a dangerous position against the Prevaricative.
Cupcake is still going in at it as well. Cupcake not... James Tiberius Kirk is known for his aggressive nature and how he likes to fly.
Whoa! These galleon rams today, Dan. That is ridiculous. Prevaricative. Man, like, something about galleon rams just throw you off, man.
People are eager to use them today, and I understand why. Especially against lightly armored ships like a Squid or a Spire. You could one-shot someone with a good galleon ram.
It's possible. If you get someone up against a wall, that's it. Because when the galleon rams something, a lot of that force gets transferred into the other ship, but it's still going forward. Like, I'd say it's the only ship in the game where if you ram something, it's going to keep going forward.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's terrifying.
We saw that earlier when Jacob's Spire got rammed.
Yeah.
And the galleon was just going so fast, and there was so much momentum, it one-shotted the Spire. Well, technically didn't one-shot it, two-shotted it. There was the first tick that took down most of the armor, and then the second tick that ate the rest of the armor and the hull.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that's the thing about this game. This is one of the mechanics of Guns of Icarus Online. A shot that takes down the armor is not going to do any damage to the hull. So you're going to need multiple hits to actually damage a ship. That's not a problem with a lot of guns, but when you're talking about ramming, it becomes very important. Orinoco taking some serious fire. Armor's down. Hull's getting hit. Alexandria and Devil's Food are in arc, but they need to start shooting right away to save their ally.
Orinoco taking a lot of damage going down. It's going to bump once. Just gets his balloon back up. Prevaricative trying to put pressure on it. Something fierce.
Yeah, but it's doing a good job. They're keeping the guns out of arc. Orinoco managing to get that Banshee fire onto the Prevaricative, but it gets its armor taken down, and the Cupcake is right there with its Banshees to do almost enough hull damage. Orinoco just barely getting its armor up, and that is going to spell doom for the Prevaricative. And now the Cupcake is left alone with the Orinoco. I do not think that the Cupcake can actually take out the Orinoco with just Banshees if there is an extinguisher on board. And
I highly
no, there is
doubt
not.
it.
There is not.
What?
There is no extinguisher aboard the Orinoco. This could be really dangerous for it. There
Oh my god!
Rising Sun comes up behind it. Still, though, that bought a lot of time, and the ship was damaged anyway. That may be part. That may have been part of the plan. Go out there, buy some time, die, and come back into the point.
It would make sense. It would make sense. We are quickly closing in on the point of no return for another blue team win on this one.
Yep, Hwacha comes out of the Devil's Food, buying time. Another Hwacha barrage going to come out. This one brings down the armor, and that's it. Rising Sun's down. Cupcake hanging out away from the point behind this cover, waiting for its chance to strike. Prevaricative coming in, but the Cupcake is a little bit scared. It's rising up, but his balloon is not full. Ooh, and that flare is going to light it on fire.
Those flares, oh my god.
Yep, balloon is burning. Cupcake is going to lose its balloon the moment it comes in. That's going to send it down into the Sarlacc pit. Armor is down.
It's not even going to make it to the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. It might. There's not enough firepower going out of the Cupcake. They bring the balloon back up, but now it's in a very compromising position. The moment it rises up, it's going to get its balloon carronated. Look at that. They're already setting themselves up.
They're getting it lined up. The Alexandria is the one trying to get into position. They're going against the Prevaricative again. Looks like the Devil's Food is the one that's going to focus on the Cupcake. Oh god!
Cupcake getting bumped by the Alexandria into the geometry, takes out its balloon, and now it's bouncing along. I think that's going to be it. Impact bumpers are
gone.
Going to be enough. Yep, with the Cupcake gone and out of the fight, there's nothing that the Prevaricative could do, and now the Cupcake is going to meet a similar fate. Rising Sun coming in, desperately to its allies' aid, but we are getting very close to the point of no return. It takes a while to bring galleons down. I think that blue team has this.
Blue team has enough armor and hull that they can simply sit on the point, and the red team won't be able to grind them down fast enough.
No, this is it. This is it. There it goes. Rising Sun down. 25 seconds left. That's it. GG. Blue team playing a very sort of unorthodox strategy. This is not something you usually see on Desert Scrap. Usually you see teams vying to try and get there first, lock it down, maybe throw out mines. But in this case, it was just, hey, it's okay if they have the point at first. We have the ships that are better in close range combat, that are tougher, harder to take down. On top of that, there was no balloon popping. And that's going to be that.
At a certain point, and I hate to put it in this kind of manner, but you have to bring something more directly built to break hull for this kind of situation, I felt.
Um, I don't know. I still maintain that the worst mistake that the red team made was not bringing anything to pop the balloons because they were having trouble taking out the balloons. I mean, you could argue that the flamethrower and Banshee do a good job of taking out balloons, but they had chem spray. Every ship had chem spray. There's no way that you are going to come in and disable a ship like that. Balloon popping it can be annoying when you're in a fight, but the real power of it is when it comes out early. Battle on the Dunes going to be the next map.
Oh, hello. Deathmatch, though, this time. There we go. I absolutely. A carronade, especially on the front of the cupcake, I think would have been fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was the real weakness of that squid. I mean, the Banshee you typically see on a disabler squid. That's one of the reasons that like you see either a flamethrower or a Banshee and a carronade on the front. The reason for that is the carronade disables the balloon, puts you in a good position to continue disabling a ship, or disable it as much as you like and then get out and join another fight. But there it was all Banshee. Like, there was no way for it to defend itself quickly. Now, something interesting about fire. It does force enemies off of their guns once it hits 9 stacks. However, with a Banshee, it takes a good long while to get up to that 9 stacks if they're not chem sprayed. Then it takes forever and potentially is impossible. So, when the cupcake went in, it had nothing to immediately disable the enemy ship or kill it quickly. I heavily disagree with that squid build. I pilot squids, so I know what I'm talking about. Trust me, I'm a genius, obviously. But no, for real, like, just from a build perspective, I don't understand from a theory crafting perspective, even in a 3v3.
Coming up here, Battle on the Dunes. It's going to be a deathmatch best of 7. First of 7 kills, rather. Everything from the Souffle and Lutetia to the Devil's Food and Corvo. Aliens Pyramidion. I haven't seen this ship in a long time. He's going with a standard Metamidian build, though, plus an Artemis and a Flare.
The standard?
Oh, look at this. 2 or 3 months ago, you would have seen Pyramidions like this everywhere.
There's a reason it's called the Metamidian. For those of you who are not aware, the Metamidian refers to a certain Pyramidion build that has a Gatling and mortar on the front guns. And that way, you can charge in, getting close, and then get a quick kill. It got nerfed a while ago, still very commonly used. But yeah, just a little bit of Guns of Icarus trivia for you guys.
It seems like we've seen slightly less and less of it lately, though.
It's been sort of making way for the Junker. I'd say that right now, the Junker is probably the most powerful ship on its own. You don't see purely Junkers because you have a lot of ship builds that run off of one another. You might see a Galleon Pyramidion or something like that. There are certain reasons why you'd run those builds. But if you're talking about just, sheer individual power, the Junker probably has it best. Just because it has the second most armor in the game, which when I learned that, it took me off guard. But it also has a very small hull, so it's very difficult to hit. It can move fairly fast. It's slower than a lot of ships, but with kerosene and a buff, you can more than make up for that. It can turn very quickly. And it has 5 light guns with a very easy trifecta. With a fair few number of gun combinations, and then that's just powerful. And then light guns are the combination of having a small hull that's difficult to hit with a lot of guns makes the guns very difficult to disable. So you have a lot of power in that one ship. I'd say its one real weakness is how massive its balloon is.
While we're waiting here, if you folks are interested in staying up to date with the Iron Fork every single week, you can go over to the community tab, the new community tab, in your Guns of Icarus overlay at the top left, and then you can hit the notify me button next to the Iron Fork of Friday. It'll update you on everything that's going on every single week with the Iron Fork, even when we go live, I do believe.
Awesome.
You can actually do that with every single event that's listed, including the fireside chat and the weekly dev battles.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Dev battles, I do not think are streamed.
No, I streamed them a little bit, but I was having a lot of trouble streaming them because I hadn't had my internet upgraded at the time.
Gotcha. Well, still, pretty cool.
There's quite a few dev battles up on the YouTube page. YouTube.com/The Rob and Dan Show.
Nice.
Getting ready for Battle on the Dunes here. Neither team feeling completely ready to go just yet.
I'm looking at the Lutetia. So the flamethrower is one of the guns that got changed, but we didn't really talk about the other one, the Echidna light flak. So the Echidna is kind of an oddball weapon. It only really works against Hull. That's all it really does. But it used to be outshined by the Artemis. I'll give a little bit of history first. The Artemis is a long-range missile launcher. Not only does it deal decent damage against Hull, but it also can disable very, very well. And it also had an extreme range. The Echidna could do a little bit more damage to the hull comparatively, but the utility of the Artemis was just too much, and it just outshined the Echidna. Recently, they provided a suite of buffs to the Echidna to make it more powerful, significantly more powerful. And so we've been seeing it a lot more. We saw it competitively the other day in scrims. I believe on Wednesday. We saw a fair bit of the Echidna, and it was doing work.
Sure. Now, noticing one thing that's going on with the Echidna now, both damage types associated with it are explosive damage.
Which means it's going to be doing even more damage to the hull. We are getting into game. Battle on the Dunes. Dan, why don't you take us through it?
Battle on the Dunes, very, very open. Traditionally, a long-range sniping map. Teams tend to sit away from each other and just peck back and forth at one another. But many times we also see this break down into just a scramble or a brawl, where both teams are trying to just cut and scrape for every advantage possible. So it could go either way. With these folks, I suspect we might get a bit of a brawl. The ship loadouts, first off, the Devil's Food, piloted by Xander Broda. It's a galleon. On the right-hand side, we have Carronade Hwacha. On the left-hand side, Lumber Flak, that's a Lumberjack and Heavy Flak combination, with Hades and a Flare for support. We also have the Francesca, piloted by Alien. On the right-hand side, we have a Gat Mortar combination. Front is an Artemis. And the left-hand side is a Hades Artemis as well. Very strong setup. The third ship in the red lineup, the Orinoco, piloted by Captain Phoenix. Right-hand side is double Hwacha. Left-hand side is double Carronade with Banshee and a Flamer for support.
Very, very close range galleon build. Very odd. Aboard the VSS Perfect Bake, a Pyramidion being piloted by Shadak Shademore. We have a dual Merc. Haven't seen one of these in a good long while. With a Gatling and a Flamethrower on the port side. Aboard the Lutetia, a Pyramidion being piloted by Halia Pharaon. We have a Hades and Echidna forward. We need to come up with some portmanteau for that. That's going to be very popular. With a Flamethrower and Carronade on the port side. And finally, aboard the Heart of Gold, a Junker being piloted by Shy Sky. We have Gatling Banshee on either side once again with a Flamethrower to complement.
Name for the Flamer Carronade on the front of a Pyramidion? The Red Rhea. He did it. He didn't do it first, but he definitely was one of the best pilots to ever do it.
Yeah, he did it pretty well. The Red Rhea's favorite. It sounds like a. it sounds kind of like a restaurant special.
That's true.
Look at this.
Lutetia's trying to flank the Orinoco, doing a pretty good job of it, too. Great shots.
Yep, it's coming on a little bit close, though. The Hades are not going to be bursting anymore once it gets too close. Devil's food rising up to meet it as well. I think that this is a huge mistake from the Lutetia. It is going to get its balloon ground down very quickly, and now...
Not only is that Hades not bursting anymore, but the Orinoco has chem spray working for it pretty seriously. That was not going to work out for them.
No,
point goes to the red team.
Perfect bake. Is that in range? Holy cow, that is the very edge of the Merc's range.
It's a good shot.
I think
actually
this confirms it. Each square. So what is the range limit of the Mercury? I'm trying to remember. Because the Mercury is going to play really heavily into this game. Mercury, very long range gun. However, it can only take out components and armor. It cannot take out hull. So the Lutetia, or the Perfect Bake, was it? Yes, indeed. The Perfect Bake is going to be relying on its teammates entirely to deal that hull damage.
It's not a terrible idea, to be completely honest. Getting your armor drop does usually make a captain panic a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the double Merc, it got used in 2v2 competitively a good long while ago. It's dropped in popularity recently, but it still has potential, I think, in 3v3 specifically when you have allies to deal the hull damage. That being said, it's not like we're seeing a heavy flak or Artemi at all. So I don't know. I'm kind of wondering about its position in this particular game.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Still just 1-0. They've gone to more sniper match setup. Lutetia is closing the range again. Oh no, they've stopped. They've held position. Great position too, as long as they can nail those Hades shots.
They're having trouble though. So incomprehensible name, saying in chat, 2.2k. 2.2k without Lesmok, he says. So that means that each of these squares on the map is about 1k. Because I was checking that. I've always kind of wondered, but like I don't know if anyone had actually tested. Each of those is approximately 1 kilometer.
So this map would be then 5 kilometers squared.
A little bit more, I think. Heart of Gold eating some serious fire from the devil's food. Balloons popped. Hades raining in. Flak is ready. Armor's down. Huge flak shot. Look at that. Charged flak, just too much.
I do believe the flak shot did get the kill, but I think they were going to die anyhow, even if the flak hadn't landed.
They were going to bump against it. So
they were going to wreck on the ground something fierce.
They were going fast. And that's something important to note. The faster you're going when you hit something, the harder of a hit you take. I mean, that kind of makes sense.
In the real world, it makes sense. In game physics, it's still kind of a new thing.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, man, you remember back in Halo? Like,
I remember back in Half-Life.
Oh, man. Half-Life had a bunch of physics puzzles. But the thing I'm thinking of is, like, I don't know, my favorite physics derp ever has to be Halo, where you get nudged by a warthog. Like it nudges your leg from behind and then you go, ah! Master Chief just like cannot take the warthog. Man, that's what they should that's what the UNSC should have done. Just like mass produce warthogs and shoot them out of cannons.
Now here I
remember
remember
every ship in the Covenant fleet.
I remember this. You know natural selection, right?
Oh, I
Not
love
natural selection too, but natural selection.
Oh, I didn't ever play the original. That's something.
Okay, so there was a group during natural selection called the FFT All Stars that did music and skits and shit.
Oh, cool.
A long time ago. One of them was called A Million Res Nodes, a parody of $1 Million. Song about having 1,000,000 res, the currency for natural selection. Resources. One of the lines in the song was, "Do you ever find it odd how you could fly 600 miles into the wall and live, or then drop 20 feet and die?" Which is actually something that happened quite regularly in the original natural selection. Anywho,
Orinoco coming in hard on Lutetia. We're finally seeing a little bit more brawling. Orinoco took a fair bit of damage coming in. Flamethrower going to go out on, though. Armor's down. Echidna, where's the Echidna? I think it's
Perfect
a little bit
bake.
close to be doing full damage, but that's still a lot of hull damage. But
It
here
is.
comes the Francesca from behind to defend its ally. Lutetia going to go down, and it goes down hard.
The Lutetia was banking on the damage output of those double mercs from the Perfect Bake, but they weren't exactly on target. Yeah, they were doing a lot of damage to the Orinoco, but the Francesca and the Devil's Food just simply out DPS'd the double merc.
Yep, absolutely. Devil's Food firing down on the Perfect Bake, trying to get those lumberjack shots off. Yeah, I know that sound anywhere. Ooh, Perfect Bake doing a good job. Not really dodging, just ever so slightly moving and making it difficult for those red chips to land shots. However, as these red chips focus on the Perfect Bake, look who's coming in from behind. It's the Lutetia and the Heart of Gold. Heart of Gold gonna go in first.
This is gonna be a tough sell for the Heart of Gold. Obviously, all three red chips are grouped together, but the Orinoco is definitely weak. Heart of Gold losing its balloon already.
Francesca. Oh, yeah.
Francesca?
Yeah. It's not Francesca, it's Francesca.
Oh,
There we go.
Francesca. Sorry.
Perfect Bake firing down on the Devil's Food right now. Big Echidna shots coming out. Right now, this combination of Merc and Echidna between these two ships is working wonders. There we go.
That's the combination we've needed to see all game so far. 3-1 in favor of the red team. Francesca is the next target. Perfect Bake doing a very good job. Flag coming in from behind on the engine column. That took out half of the hull on the Junker.
Heart of Gold in a fair bit of trouble as well. Orinoco doing a good job of firing down on it. Lutetia firing out those Hades shots, and they're landing true. Armor's down on the Francesca. Can they get those Echidna shots? No, they're going over to the Orinoco. But they're going
They were
a bit
so
wide.
close, too. The Francesca is just... You have to just breathe on it and it'll fall apart. Lutetia is
Nobody
refocusing.
Nobody on the Francesca sneeze. Or you're gonna go down. Merc coming out on the Orinoco.
Oh!
There we go. That's what we were waiting for. Lutetia coming in, finishing it off, just getting a little bit closer to get those shots reliably. Orinoco losing its armor, and the Echidna comes in and finishes it off. That
It's tied
Echidna
up.
doing work.
It is tied up.
That Echidna is really satisfying to watch work.
Mm-hmm. Like
gotta
before it just felt dinky.
Piddly. It felt
Yeah.
piddly.
I'll go with piddly. But now it feels substantial.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a major upgrade for it.
Yeah.
I kind of want to experiment with it now.
Yeah, I think that it has the potential to work in a couple of different builds. Devil's Food, getting hit by that sandstorm. But it is going to provide a little bit of cover so it can retreat back to its allies.
Devil's Food, Orinoco, and Francesca all holding position together for the most part. Francesca a little bit behind. That's okay. Devil's Food and Orinoco getting ready to brawl here, it looks like. Devil's Food with the lumber flak combination. And Orinoco, what do you have on that side? You have double carronade pointed in this direction of the blue team so far. Perfect Bake got spotted, and I'm honestly not sure how. Like, I'm not sure how that happened.
I think they actually do have line of sight. They had line of sight just barely.
Miraculous.
It is going to give it away, but that doesn't really matter. The Perfect Bake is the ship that's going to be hanging way back with those mercs. That's not going to be the main target of these ships. It's going to be the Lutetia and the Heart of Gold. I gotta say, though, I think that the Lutetia is going to be the more dire target.
Lutetia with that extreme firepower going. What is that? That is the flak
Hades
and
Echidna.
the Hades.
Yeah, it's the Hades Echidna. We've been seeing it do a lot of work. Heart of Gold, though, coming in low. Does it have hydrogen? Yes, it does. Heart of Gold is going to come in low, burn hydrogen to get up to its
There it
enemies.
is. There it is.
Yep. Rising up past the Francesca, but look at that gap fire going down. Heart of Gold having to move a little bit out of there, and this is going to give the Orinoco time to turn its guns into Arc of the Heart of Gold. Right now, that poor Junker ain't looking too good, Dan.
It's just not in a great situation. Heart of Gold did a really good job of distracting the Francesca and the Devil's Food, but now it's absorbing all the red team firepower, and it wasn't going to hold up much longer than that. Lutetia and Perfect Bake are now all alone. They need to kill a red ship. They need to focus their firepower all at once and kill something before they start going down.
Yeah, absolutely. The Orinoco was the target, but the cloud cover is going to grant the red team a bit of a reprieve.
I actually think that this is the best thing that could happen to the red team right now because they can close the gap on one of these more long-range ships and eat them alive before any of these red ships can be taken down by that long-range firepower.
Hades coming in on the Lutetia. Armor's down. Where's the flak? There it is! It lands!
Oh!
Easy shot on the broad side of that Pyramidion. No problem.
That was brutal.
That was clean. Like, that was one of the cleanest flak shots I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
I don't know. That just looked pretty.
5-3 in favor of the red team. This is a close one, folks. This is a very close competitive one. Perfect Bake starting to take some firepower. Red team has... looks like they've zeroed in on it. Instead of using a spot, though, they're simply using their firepower and their hit confirmations, or the hit confirmations they did have, to try and keep a focus on it. But the firepower has gotten very inaccurate.
Yeah, those clouds coming in are just a little bit too much. Like, I don't know. I've always kind of wondered at the power of the double merc. I understand that it used to be really powerful when the sniper meta was completely dominant.
Sure.
But and that was only because you could expect to see a bunch of sniper ships, but
sure.
I don't really like it in this situation. It doesn't give enough power, and it doesn't allow the brawling ships to do what they want to do. When you start engaging at the range that the Perfect Bake is staying at, then you lose a lot of DPS. I mean, they're good gunners. Like, who's gunning? Like, that's Melon and Jacob Fi. Like, those guys are, like, they're reliable players. But even at this range, you're going to miss a significant portion of your shots.
This is a very competitive game where both teams are trying to edge out an advantage. The Lutetia appears to be the next target for the red team. Blue team definitely needs to get their focus fire on, make sure the Perfect Bake and the Lutetia are communicating as to when those flak shots really do need to land. And Heart of Gold sweeping in on the far left flank compared to them, try and get some other damage done.
So one of the saving graces of that double merc is that it is taking out the weapons. That's something that it can do. It's good against armor and weapons. And I think that's right now, like that's the one thing that's keeping it working right now. It's taking out the guns of these galleons and allowing the Heart of Gold and the Lutetia to come in. But it's not doing a whole lot beyond that. Like, then the galleons turn, and then
there is one thing you really do need to say about the merc, and it's that it can be pretty dependent on what ammo you're loading. For example, if you're loading, Lesmok, obviously you're going to be able to really reach out and touch someone. If you're loading charged, you are going to destroy the armor on a ship. And if you're loading, oddly enough, heatsink, you're going to be able to eat components alive. Without an ammo, though, it's just a generic, well, it can do some stuff kind of gun.
It doesn't really shine in any particular light. Like, what are they using? They're using, let's see, Grease? They're using Lesmok.
I could understand it at this range.
No. I'm looking at the wrong ship. My bad. They're using charged. Okay, thought so.
Charge is the best option right now, especially since a kill needs to happen. Disable is great in this situation, but a kill needs to happen. We need to get that. They need to get that armor down.
Armor down the Devil's Food. Not sure that they can do a whole lot about it though. They don't have any Artemai to complement these mercs.
Yay, sniping match!
Yeah, finally. Right now, The Heart of
Yes.
Gold, though, is working its way over around the ribs, using this dust storm as visual cover. I like this. It's going to take a while for this to happen, though. If the Heart of Gold gets spotted, then the red team could move in, and we do see that happening. The red
Orinoco has been zeroed in on and spotted. If the Lutetia and Perfect Bake can buckle down and focus, this could be a pretty good kill for the blue team.
Oof. Now that the Heart of Gold is so far away, red team's like, hey, wait a minute, there's only 2 of them, let's go.
Oh my
A lot of
God.
hull damage, though. Hades going to keep coming out. The Echidna just is firing willy-nilly whenever it likes to bring down that armor. There's one last whack, but there's the armor Echidna gonna rein in.
Oh,
Orinoco
boy.
goes down, getting a little bit too big for its britches there. Now the Francesca is all alone. Armor down, thanks to those mercs. When you're at this range against Mercuries, you're going to get hit every single shot.
Very,
going
very
to come in with
dangerous.
the Echidna. There it is. Gets one hit in before the armor comes back up, but it's not going to take that much longer.
Nope, it's gone. It's gone.
There it is. Devil's Foods come in last, but certainly not least. Can it take the Lutetia and Perfect Bake? This is a very scary situation for this Galleon.
Lutetia is reversing very quickly. It's going to make it a
Heart of
tough
Gold.
target to hit for the Devil's Food.
I'm impressed. Like, I don't understand why the red team came in one at a time like that.
I'm not sure
They're
either.
paying for it. They're paying for it. Devil's Food getting the worst of the Heart of Gold as well. Flamethrower coming out, going to cause complete chaos. Devil's Food dropping down, trying to make some of those shots miss and duck into the safety of the clouds. But the Heart of Gold is staying right on it, keeping that spot. The Mercs and the Echidna are able to continue to land
Wow.
thanks to that bit of prudence. And the blue
That is
team is going to
crazy.
pick up another kill, 6-5. I'm impressed. I mean, look at these pilot levels. You have pilot level, or no, Shadak Shavemore is 13. But you have a level 13, level 4, and level 6 up against a 9, 11, and 14. Like, I'd say, red team definitely has, the skill advantage coming to this. Like, I'd say they're just more, their captains are more skilled.
Shadak
but
shows
they're
me
making mistakes.
Shadak shows a level 3 pilot.
Yeah, the client's been glitching with levels.
Shadak rarely,
wait,
if ever,
is he actually
pilots.
level 3?
She
No,
is
he
level
actually is
3 as a
level 3.
pilot. Yeah, she's actually a level 3 pilot. She never
Oh.
pilots.
You're right. Huh.
Now, one thing I do want to point out, Incomprehensible brought up that Heatsink also gives you an extra shot for the Merc. That's the whole point. A Heatsink Merc shot can one-shot any component except heavy engines. It can one-shot
Mhm.
every other component there is. It can
Mm.
still it has enough damage. So when you put Heatsink rounds in a Merc and you're trying to pick off components, you can still one-shot every single component. The damage potential is absolutely there, except against heavy engines. You need to load a standard or a heavier damage round to one-shot one of those.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like, if you're using charged and you're trying to take out guns, that's a lot of wasted damage.
It's a
just
ton of
you're
wasted
going-
damage.
You're going way beyond the damage that you need to with a single hit. So math, yay.
Yay! 6
Theory
to 5 in favor of the blue team. Things have been very topsy-turvy on this one. Extremely topsy-turvy.
Yeah, right now, red team, they need to be careful. They've taken place. They Mr. Trickery saying, and just because we're cake doesn't mean we have to take flamethrower on a long-range map against a long-range galleon. Maybe starting to lose faith in the fire there. Come on, man. Where's your faith? No, for real though. The red team hiding out in the ribs. They cannot lose another kill. They're going to play this very safely. However, Dust Storm coming in, this may give the blue team the opportunity that they need.
Devil's Food loses their armor. Hull starting to take a little bit of damage. They're not too much. Not too
Yeah,
terribly much.
This was kind of the theory behind the double Merc back in the day. That's why when it was used even in just 2v2, you just keep chipping away at enemies' armor and hull. It's like the hull goes down, you just keep hitting them. And you don't necessarily have to do it quickly. You just have to get it done. This was also before sniping matches got completely and utterly ridiculous and the time limit became standard in competitive matches.
Orinoco taking just a few more shots. It looks like blue team has zeroed them down.
Ooh, armor goes down on the Orinoco as well. Like, they're just chipping. Like, right now, blue team is content to just have their double merc chip away.
Heart of Gold is swinging around the back door of the ribs. Completely uncontested at this point, too. They just get spotted. Heart of Gold, though, is going to have a very good opportunity to do a number on the Devil's Food or the Orinoco. I don't think Francesca is going to be the target. It's going to be a little bit harder to hit for the long-range ships. Orinoco looks like it's going to be the target of the Heart of Gold. Flamers going down all over the place. Orinoco was not ready for this. Heart of Gold is taking some pretty serious damage, but the Orinoco, half the ship is on fire.
Yep, that's a pretty nice disable, but the combined firepower of the Francesca, Devil's Food, and Orinoco is going to be more than enough to take them out. Lutetia coming in a little bit too late, I think. Yep, blue team just... That was a huge mistake on the part of the Heart of Gold. It should have waited for the other blue ships to start closing in before it did anything too drastic. I think it was a good maneuver, but poorly timed.
Very poorly timed. It was an amazing maneuver. The fact that they could get perfectly behind the red ships like that, astounding. Absolutely astounding. Not a lot to say for this engagement at this point, though. Beyond the fact that the red ships have taken a bit of chip damage. The blue ships at this point are perfectly full hull.
Yeah, not worth losing a point over, definitely. But, no. I mean, that is definitely important. I think, like, they just want to have the perfect bake. Fire down. Ooh, they have angles on the Lutetia. This is huge. This is what the red team has been trying to do for the last little while, is try to get good arcs on these ships. They haven't been able to yet, but now they've got the angles just right, and they're able to adjust them just a little bit so they can keep landing these shots. I think that if blue team is going to win this, they've got to move forward, and they've got to do it before the Lutetia loses more. Like, it's going to be okay because of that cloud cover, but once these are gone, it's going to be in a lot of trouble.
The Devil's Food is sitting very low compared to the Francesca. Francesca is the easily spottable target between all the red ships. Heart of Gold is swinging around to the far, what is that? The far east side of the map. So far, they haven't been spotted just yet.
We can't have a repeat of what just happened, or else the red is going to win. The Lutetia and Perfect Bake have got to move in with the Heart of Gold. Hopefully, they learned their lesson last time.
Hopefully so. Heart of Gold is actually pulling back now, trying to make sure they have the best, most safe cover possible. They actually took a little bit of damage from that dust cloud that just swept in.
It doesn't do damage to armor, but it definitely damages components. Francesca coming out of hiding. If they do have that Artemis on the front, and they're going to make use of it. Good to see the traditional Hades Artemis making an appearance on the Francesca. Good sniping power. Lots of sniping power there.
Devil's Food is still sitting well in front. Cloud break has happened. The Devil's Food is exposed to both long-range ships.
Devil's Food eating some serious fire from the Perfect Bacon Lutetia. Hades is going to do a fair bit of damage to that hull.
This would be a great time for the Junker to sweep in here. Devil's Food is exposed. Their armor is still down. Hull is at half. Shots are still coming in from the Perfect Bacon, the Lutetia. Great accuracy so far. Heart of Gold, I do believe, senses the opportunity, and they are moving in ever so slightly. Actually, are they reversing? They're reversing.
They're not gonna get in there. They're a little bit concerned. over going in. I think the captains communicated. No, blue team says, "Hey, you know what? We're not really under any pressure right now. The Lutetia and Perfect Bake are doing plenty of damage on their own. So we can just hang out, take it slow." 90 seconds left in the match. The game hasn't been going that long. Yeah. 90 seconds left. Then what? We win. Nothing. You just suck. Well, and I recognize that reference.
What's it a reference to?
Minesweeper, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
That timer is going to keep going up until it hits 999. And then what? Nothing. You just suck.
Devil's Food and the Orinoco. Galleon still sitting low in the ribs. Francesca sitting very high. Francesca so far has been supremely confident in its abilities to stand, if not at the brunt of their forces, certainly to take the brunt of the force from the blue team.
Like the red team really, like, by putting themselves in the ribs, they did put themselves in a bit of a scary spot, because the moment that one of them steps out, it's going to be very easy to get a bead. Plus, being so low to the ground makes it much easier for these arcing weapons, like the Mercury and the Hades, to land. Lutetia taking some fire. They've chosen their target. They all jumped out at once. Watcha does land. That was some impressive Watcha fire, and that is telling as to how close these ships really are to one another.
This is going to be a tough situation for the red team, though. They aren't quite built for a long-range brawl like this, especially compared to the Lutetia and the Perfect Bake. With how those two ships function so well together, they're going to win a long-range engagement, no matter what the other team is bringing to the table with these ships.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, Merc coming in on the Orinoco. Hades on the Francesca. Right now, the blue team is content to just spread their fire right now. Keep the red team.
Orinoco's armor goes down again.
This is just going to happen over and over again. They're going to keep taking down that hull.
The Heart of Gold is swinging around the west side of the ribs again, but it was spotted, which could cause a lot of trouble for the blue team, because if Heart of Gold tries to pull what they did earlier again, they are going to lose this game for the blue team.
Definitely. I mean, being this low to the ground is going to make those lumberjacks even easier to hit. This is a really dangerous spot for it to be in. The Perfect Bake and Lutetia have got to move in soon. Otherwise, I think the Heart of Gold is going to go down and red team is going to win it. Like, the blue team's going to lose off of a misstep.
Now, hold up just a second here. The Francesca has wandered out on its own.
It wants
away
to deal
from its allies.
It wants to deal with the Heart of Gold itself, and I think it has the power to. Got mortar. Going to be plenty.
I think the situation is actually this. The Heart of Gold is being used as a lure to draw out the red team. The red team has, for the most part, left the ribs. All blue team has to do is focus down one of these red team ships. And it looks like the Orinoco is going to be it.
You know, that being said, I think that the red team is making the right decision here. They've got to rise up. Otherwise, they're going to get ripped down. Lutetia firing in on the Orinoco, but again, it's getting a little bit too close. Balloon's not looking great. If it goes down, it's going to get dropped. Armor's not looking great either. Francesca dropping down to try and deal with the Lutetia. This may be the kill they're looking for, but the Heart of Gold is firing down on the Francesca. Armor is almost down. Orinoco's hull is exposed as well. It could be either ship. Francesca eating a bit of chip, but the Orinoco is much, much lower. The Perfect Bake firing in those Mercuries on the Orinoco, but it is dropping to try and take down the Lutetia. Hull's getting hit. Huge damage, and that's going to be Francesca's mortar was just too much for it to deal with.
Great Great draw out on the part of the blue team, but the red team knew exactly where they needed to place their firepower. It was just too much for the blue team to handle. They got in a little too close, and it's just those minute differences that finished off the Lutetia and won the first game of the afternoon for the red team. What the hell?
Have you never heard Sandstorm?
Yes, of course I have. But why?
Because I referenced it. Hey. Guess where the last map is?
Oh dear.
Hey. Yeah, and guess what I voted for? Dan, guess
Right
what?
on the refinery?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Ooh.
I gotta say, like, I agree with Vomokt in chat. I feel like blue team could have won that if they just kept the sniping match going. Like, they were winning. Like, they were winning. I feel like the Heart of Gold, like, just got too excited. It didn't need to get into the action.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Hold on, I need to look this up.
A couple different ships in there got just a little too eager on the blue side of things, and that caused some issues. If both of those long-range blue ships with the double mercs and the Hades flag had just sat back and done exactly what they do best, it would have been a different game. It would have been a different outcome, I think.
Definitely. Either way, though, last map, going to be right on the refinery. Are we getting any ship change up? We get the Doomhammer. Now this is interesting.
Doomhammer.
Doom reigns.
No.
Have you never played Dota 2?
No. Well, I played it for like a half hour.
That Doom used to be known as Doombringer, but now it's just Doom.
No, Doomhammer references fucking Warcraft 2.
I don't know.
It should reference Warcraft 2.
It is. I like the Corvo that that probably is referencing. I'd guess. I hazard a guess that it's referencing Dishonored. I don't know what the Orinoco is named after.
Orinoco. I believe that's a bird.
No. Probably a fat bird. If they're naming a galleon after it.
That's rude.
It's a galleon. Heavy. Big.
So rude.
How wooed.
You're fired. Get out.
Also, let's see. Doomhammer is also Warhammer 40k.
Which came first?
Warhammer 40k.
What year?
Warhammer 40k.
What year?
Let me take a look. Hold on.
Rob is making claims, and I had to challenge them on him.
Warhammer specifically is a tank, or the Doomhammer is a tank in 40k. Let's see here. Warhammer 40k, Wikipedia. Years active 1987 to present.
Damn it!
Oh.
Well, keep in mind, Blizzard does gently lift some visuals and designs from the Games Workshop properties.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Doomhammer, though, for Warcraft is 96. So, yeah.
Suspicious, except not really.
Not really at all. In fact, the opposite of suspicious.
Well, which game did Doomhammer appear in? 1 or 2?
Warcraft 2.
Warcraft 2? Okay.
I believe Warcraft 1 was 93?
94.
94, okay.
Oh, get had.
What?
Got owned.
Only by a year.
I'm confused.
He was owned only by a year.
I was not owned.
I don't know. You know, I could really go for some right now. I really go for some tea. I have some green tea I need to finish up. There's cherry in it.
What the hell?
You really okay? I actually kind of like. I remember that was the song of the '90s. Oh my gosh! Like back when I was little, I remember like playing. DDR.
Wait! Before you continue, I gotta say this. I love the '90s.
Okay.
You remember those? Do you remember that series?
Okay. That was the song in the 90s when it came out in 2002.
What?
Third Sandstorm, 2002.
Oh.
Or I guess I don't know. I associate it with the '90s for one reason or another. Must have been. Yeah, so it must. Okay, so it was. Yeah, that makes sense. So I would have been. Golly, I would have been 11 when that came out. Okay, so that's still.
Wow.
Huh.
And I was drinking for like 2 years by the time that came out. Well, if you want to count underage, 5 years.
Because underage drinking isn't actually drinking.
No, it's actually illegal.
Yes.
I'm so glad I didn't say anything.
Man, I remember rocking out to that on DDR though. Holy cow.
Rocking out to underage
best.
drinking? Oh.
I hate you all so much.
No, the song of the 90s for me was Around the World, Daft Punk.
Why did I think it? Whatever.
What?
My memory is bad. I'm
Memory?
losing it to the sake.
Again, no comment. We don't support underage drinking.
Hey, I'm not underage. You son of a bitch.
Oh, I'm a dick.
Yeah. Kinda.
Okay, I think we need Cowboy Oracle back for this round.
No.
Hooey!
Son of a bitch.
I hope you're ready. Get along, little doggy.
You're creepy.
Time to settle you up.
Why do you think he's wearing those Spurs, Dan?
Tell me you have like Spurs clinking. Like, tell me you have that sound effect.
No.
All I have to say is steers and queers.
All the people where come from are steers and queers. We ain't got no horns, boy. I don't know. When I hear that line, I don't think of the actual original movie. I think of the Primus song, Sergeant Baker.
Okay.
Do you know that song?
Nope.
Do either of you guys listen to Primus?
Nope.
It's been a while, but yes, I listened to Primus.
Oh, hey. I have a special spot in my heart for Primus.
Aw, Lucas is younger than all of us. Young Lucas.
He. I don't want soccer. I don't want any alcohol right now. I want tea. I want tea. I have like.
By the way, Rob.
Yes.
Rob.
You know our DJ Bahamut sound effect?
Yes.
I figured out the perfect companion to it.
Rum?
No.
Okay. I don't know then.
So, you know the da that happens whenever the Spanish Inquisition pops up?
Yeah. Yeah.
That, then I say, El Bahamut, and then guitar strum. What the hell?
This is Primus, baby.
That's great. We can't play that music on stream. We don't have it licensed. Are you trying to get us in trouble?
That was. Oh, what was that? That was. What was that song? I forget.
My name is Mud.
My name is Mud. Yeah.
All I can think of is Joe Dirt. Joe Dirt.
Joe.
Here we go. Raid in the
There we go.
Refinery. Last map / last game of today. Thank you all for being here so much, guys. Oracle, tell us about the map.
This is gonna take a little while, guys. This is a Crazy King map, which means that the point shifts every 3 minutes. Now, the goal is to get to 600 points. So every second that you control a point, you control a point is worth 1 point of score. You're trying to get up to 600. But the map Raid on the Refinery is very, very large, which means that teams are going to be desperately scrambling to try to get to the next point, or while like 1 point is being contested, have one of their ships or two of their ships go on to the next point. So we are getting underway. Dan, take us through the red ships.
First one is the Constantinople. It's not Istanbul, it's Constantinople, piloted by Halia Farron. It's a squid. The front is a carronade, side is a gat, and the back is a mine launcher. Very good setup for a squid, in my opinion. Next ship is the Corvo, piloted by Riders Alien. That's a gat mortar on the front with a carronade and flare on the side. And the last ship in the red team lineup, the Orinoco, piloted by, who is that? That's Frazzle Drive. Oh, Captain Phoenix. I'm sorry. That's Phoenix with double Watcha on the right, and on the left, double carronade with a Banshee and a Flamer. That's a Flamer on the back for support.
And aboard the deflationary policy, a Goldfish being piloted by Melima Crabernathy.
Crabernathy!
Yeah, that. It is a Watcha fish with a flamethrower on the port and a carronade on the starboard. Aboard the VSS Arundel, a galleon being piloted by Admiral Jake Sparrow. We have a lumber flak and a Hades on the port with a carronade and Watcha on the starboard. And aboard the Hummingbird, a squid being piloted by Shy Sky. We have a carronade on the front, flamethrower on the starboard, and a mine launcher to poop out mines on the back.
It's going to be a fun one. Blue team has already grabbed B. Blue team is a good bit closer to B starting out than the red team, so it's to be expected. The Corvo and the Constantinople were trying to duel, looks like, but even they have turned tail and started moving towards C. And I do believe Orinoco, Corvo, and the Constantinople are going to group up on C and hold on to it for dear life.
Now, I think that this is a bit of a mistake to have every single red ship go over, because now the blue team is not going to have any incentive to stay on that point. They're just going to immediately start fighting for C. So,
admittedly, they had very little incentive to stay on the point in the first place. They can body rush it.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like the blue team right now, they shouldn't be messing around on the point and giving up point C. They should be moving toward point C right now, but it looks like they're content to just say, "Hey, we'll take our like 127 points or so, and just hold it." They're cool with it.
Orinoco, Corvo, and Constantinople, it's not Istanbul, are all grouped up on C and ready to fight for it.
Yep, blue's moving over to point C already.
Hummingbird is way ahead of the deflationary policy and the Arundel. Hummingbird needs to be careful in this situation, although I do believe deflationary policy is ready to use that Watcha to support the squid. Orinoco and Corvo are very low to take on the Hummingbird. They're going to need to raise up pretty quickly to engage them.
Yep, Hummingbird not quite able to get the block. It's too high. There we go. Hummingbird going to block it for just a moment. Yep, it's dropping lower, having its balloon popped. So you do need to be beneath this balloon that represents the point in order for your presence to count. Now, the Hummingbird and deflationary policy have managed to block it, but they are taking quite a bit of fire, literally, from the flamethrower.
Constantinople is definitely taking a lot of damage in this situation. The squid just is a tough situation, especially since the Constantinople and the Hummingbird are kind of duking it out. The Constantinople, however, is mostly on fire. Or they were, however, mostly on fire, to the point where they felt they needed to throw up impact bumpers. Deflationary policy getting eaten alive by the Corvo and the Orinoco. Very quickly, in fact. Constantinople swinging on the far side of the deflationary policy. All three red ships eating that blue ship alive. Goldfish may be a solid ship, but it just wasn't enough to deal with that.
It was the Gat mortar on a mostly immobilized Goldfish. I mean, you can pretty much guess what's going to happen. Hummingbird eating a fair bit of fire. I do rather like the Constantinople having that Gatling to support its allies, taking down the armor of the Hummingbird. It's going to ram and it's going to go down. Red team now has a very strong handle on the point, and they are going to take it for about 100 points.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
No,
they were able to
not
throw
bad.
the blue team off very quickly and get a good chunk of points out of that.
All things considered, that was quite fast. Now, the Arundel is coming in, and I think that if the red team is smart, they, instead of actually destroying the Arundel, they will just disable it and slow it down, because this is capture the flag. Or no, it's hold the point. It's a point capture, excuse me. It's not capture the flag. That'd be kind of an interesting mode, though. You only see squids. But they really should just disable the Arundel, not kill it.
Now, why don't you, before, explain why you're saying that, though? Because, I mean, this is a subject that not a ton of people understand about Crazy King and Capture the Point maps, disabling, not destroying enemy ships. So go ahead and explain your reasoning behind that.
Yeah, sure. So in a Capture the Point mode, the number of kills does not matter. Like, you could have, 100 deaths on your side and still end up picking up the win, just because all that matters are the points you get from holding these capture points. Like, that's all that matters. And so when you die, you spawn in a little bit later with a fresh ship. Now, sometimes you actually want to let yourself be killed, and if you're low on hull, because then you come back with a fresh ship, you're ready to fight hard for the next point.
Constantinople is taking an absolute beating from Shattuck Shademore and the deflationary policy. Absolutely destructive use of Hawacha there. My goodness.
And now nobody's quite on the point. I think that deflationary policy could stand to back up and actually get on it, because the Corvo is going in on the Hummingbird. This could be the chance they need. Here we go. The capping has started. Corvo not quite going to be on the point. Blue team looking to take this one pretty quickly. Hummingbird will go down, but I think that it's going to take too long for the Corvo and the Constantinople to get onto the point. We're almost there.
There's a couple different things going on here right now. First off, the Arundel actually held back quite a while to uncap the previous point from the red team. Blue team, though, has had their cap blocked by the Corvo and the Orinoco on point D. Deflationary policy is now slinking backwards as the Hummingbird tries to do something against the Orinoco, but that flamethrower is going to be destructive on that lightly armored squid. Not what you want to see getting used on a squid, especially if you're on the squid.
No,
I'm actually...
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, I am impressed the amount of damage that flamethrowers do against squids now.
Yeah, it's
really
pretty impressive.
substantial.
Deflationary policy eating quite a bit of Gat mortar fire. I think that the red team may be able to lock down this point and at least get some points out of it. Here we go. Deflationary policy's down. A little bit too high to start capping. There we go.
That's going to be a big difference. Hummingbird is still technically in the cap zone, but I think Orinoco is going to do something about that here pretty shortly.
Yes, just barely. Yeah, I don't know why that's not capping. Like, is the Arundel in there? Is the Hummingbird in there?
One of those blue ships isn't. Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
I believe it was the Arundel that was in range, and now the red team is going to successfully capture this point. I do believe.
No, it hasn't been blocked yet. Corvo is just content to hang out on this point, pick up a couple, move on. Right now, red team sitting on 76. If they capture this point, I think it will pretty much even it out.
Maybe they may be a little bit short.
Not quite.
Little short.
Yeah, they're going to be short, but so far this game has been pretty even. This brawl that's happening over here, I'd say not particularly important. The most important thing is the race between the deflationary policy and the Orinoco, and deflationary policy has already won it. It's getting over to E very quickly. So that death was a little bit fortuitous.
Now, here's the thing going on with the deflationary policy. You have some pretty veteran cake members on that ship right now, including Melon McCrabernathy, Jacob, and Shattuck Shademore. You have a couple individuals that are absolutely 100% used to each other. They're used to working and fighting together. So, you also have the deflationary policy, which, oddly enough, is a Hwacha fish. Sorry, Hwacha fish. The gunning on that ship should be exemplary, but a lot of the shots actually missed the Orinoco just now.
Yeah, I don't think that he was using heavy clip for that one. He had burst loaded. Yeah, that's the problem. Yep. Deflationary policy able to put a fair bit of cap down on it, but he wasn't quite able to get the point. And since this is a Hwacha fish, it's going to take a good long while to actually pick up a kill. It may not even get the chance. Constantinople coming in with that Gatling, ripping through the armor. If that hull gets hit by that Hwacha like that, ooh, that was close.
That was very close.
But if that Hwacha barrage had gone into the hull, the deflationary policy would be gone.
Constantinople keeping in position for good shots with the Gatling cannon. Armor goes down again on the deflationary policy. Constantinople taking a gentle bump there, but not too bad. Deflationary policy. Armor is down. Balloon is down. Guns are all down. Deflationary policy gets eaten alive. And the red team is going to take this point unless Hummingbird can block it.
There it is. He did. He blocked it, but he's going to go down real quick.
Not for long.
Meh.
And the Arendelle is way too high to block it. Way too high to block it.
No, I think that this point is indeed going to go for the red team. This is a significant chunk of points if they can manage to hold it for the next 2 minutes, and I don't really think there's a whole lot that the blue team can do. Red team started out 128 points behind after the first capture, but they've come back, and they are slowly eking their way ahead. Is it eking?
Eking their way ahead.
And you sure?
Yes.
Yeah, you're right, eek. Haha, thank you. I never figured out how to pronounce that.
Well, you know now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes,
Great
indeed.
use of combined firepower there by the red team. The Arendelle is sitting very low. If the red team, though, is smart about this, the Orinoco will not finish that galleon off and put the blue team at a distinct advantage.
No, it's gonna bump it. It just wants to secure it. It doesn't. I felt like it didn't necessarily have to, like, even stomp it. It could have just stayed exactly where it was. That being said, it was pretty amusing to watch. Also, the Hummingbird was coming in. It didn't want to have to deal with a galleon and a squid on it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get out of there.
Now, the Orinoco's crew has done a very good job of getting the chem spray going. That fire pretty much didn't touch it.
But the Hummingbird, interestingly enough, not looking to neutralize the point and stop these next 35 points going over to the red team. It's just going to follow the Orinoco, be obnoxious. But like you said, they're doing pretty well with the chem spray. I'm not sure that this squid is going to be able to do much. They need to get the chem spray on the balloon, though. They decided to whack it with the mallet first. There we go. Engine's down. Only the main engine is left up.
Whew. It looks like the Constantinople and deflationary policy are already going at it on the next point. Great Hwacha bursts coming from the deflationary policy. Oh my god.
Yep, armor's up at full again, but it's going to get rammed, goes into the balloon. Now it goes into the hull. Deflationary policy is going to have to follow them down pretty hard. Oof. Gun's going out of arc, though.
Getting a little bit of lag there. Did you guys feel that too?
No. Not at all.
That's odd. Corvo is coming in on the deflationary policy, trying to help out the Constantinople in any way it can. Hummingbird is still trying to harass the Orinoco, but not really doing terribly much.
Armor's down. Hwacha comes out. Doesn't disable the mortar, though. A lot of hull damage going out in the deflationary policy. They needed to target that that mortar just a little bit harder. Oopsie daisy, dearie me. Constantinople firing out. What kind of ammo is that? That's charged. I feel like Muse is changing up the sound effects a lot. Am I the only person who's feeling that way?
I haven't really noticed a ton of different sound effect changes, to be honest.
Mostly on the Gatling. Ooh, deflationary policy gonna go down. No real surprise. Corvo had a beat on him pretty hard. Now the point still has not been captured, and there's only about a couple of minutes left on it. And the red team right now too high to actually be capturing it. In fact, the Arundel doing a good number trying to capture it right here. Hummingbird eating some carronade fire from the Constantinople, but its balloon is going to stay up for the time being.
Now here's the problem right now, is that the blue team has a chance to secure some points from this specific point, which is all well and good. Yeah, a few extra points, it wouldn't be bad, wouldn't hurt, certainly. The next point, though, is almost guaranteed to go to the blue side of things. B on this map is very heavily in favor of the blue team. Extremely heavy in favor. Hummingbird takes a massive salvo from the Constantinople and the Orinoco, rather.
The Oracle?
The Oracle? The Oracle.
Excuse me.
And absolutely gets wrecked. Hummingbird could go down here. They have almost nothing left hull-wise. Balloon goes down again. Armor goes down again. Hull is getting...
Ooh. Arundel gets a nasty bounce on the ground, taking out a lot of that hull. Hummingbird getting followed. Big Watcher goes out on the Orinoco, losing all of its weapons. Balloon's up, though. It's going to be okay. Hummingbird losing its armor as it bounces along the ground. Where is that balloon?
They're going very quickly. They're going fast. That's too much.
Man, what was happening there? They needed to get that balloon up. They needed
the balloon just did not come up in times. They had too much momentum going into that bounce to survive.
Corvo coming in on the Arundel. Red once again showing their might. That being said, not a whole lot to show for it. Only 10 seconds left on this point. And like you said, blue is in a very good position to take B spawn. Deflationary
policy is already on it, and a very low hull Constantinople is the only red ship moving in.
Yeah, this is going to be hard. Usually it's really hard for a Watcherfish to take down, take a ship down. But the one thing it is good at doing is squashing squids.
Also, do keep in mind, if you are someone who enjoys using a Hwacha, it may not do much against armor, but against hull, it can do a good chunk of damage.
Yeah, and the squid hardly has any armor to speak of. So
watch it going out!
Oh!
It's too much!
Holy cow. Look at that. That was one salvo. Took down the armor and started hitting the hull. So, if you're having trouble with squids, Watcherfish, definite counter.
Well, it was low anyhow, admittedly.
It was, but its engines were down. It was going to go down no matter what.
That's true.
Corvo coming in with deflationary policy. Yeah, so good against squids, and also good against metamidians. That ram, mortars, Gatling, going to take it out real quick. I don't think they even bothered reloading that mortar. Oh, maybe they did. Where's that armor drop? There it is.
Red team got a really good block on that point. Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised that red team got such an effective block, especially with how aggressive they played trying to take this point. But the Goldfish got drawn out. The Goldfish charged quite riskily the Corvo, and they lost it because of that. Arundel is getting pressured by the Corvo and the Orinoco pretty severely. Arundel down to just under half armor and half hull, with a couple guns having been lost already.
Ooh, Corvo gonna start bouncing against the ground there. Okay, gets his balloon back up. Doesn't lose its armor. Going to moonshine, hydrogening up to try and face down the Arundel. That is going to be its target. I don't think the Gatling is going to be able to take down the armor in this go, but it's going to move forward, and the Arundel is going to be in trouble unless the flamethrower from the Hummingbird lights enough things on fire. Beacon's on fire. No problem.
This has been a very successful block so far from the red team. The blue team is, as soon as a red ship is not on that point, mere moments from successfully capping B, but the teamwork we've seen from the red team has kept that from happening for a vast majority of this time. Already, we're down to 40 seconds on B. Great teamwork from the red team of making sure blue team can't take advantage of their positioning.
Just as Corvo's about to bring down the armor on the Arundel, Hwacha comes out. Bump up on the deflationary policy, throwing it over to the Constantinople. Corvo going to stay on the deflationary policy there. However, armor's up. Mortars aren't going to do too much. We're looking at a pretty long game here, Dan. We're not even halfway done.
Yep, absolutely. We're actually already past time for the
but we'll keep going.
Friday.
We'll finish up this game.
Yeah, no problem. It's not a problem. While we are setting up here for the next engagement on C Point, we have a special guest.
Who could that be?
I don't know.
Hey! Hello, everybody.
Tiberius Kirk himself.
Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls?
You were in a couple games there earlier.
I was, and then my internet pooed out on me, and I was like, I'm hungry. I'm going to get something to eat.
Constantinople is the defender against the deflationary policy in Hummingbird in this situation. Red team has started to swing the point, but I do believe Constantinople will not be able to hold up long against the deflationary policy. Already ripping through. Wow. That was a really good Hwacha shot.
Oh, look at that. Someone opened up a spectator slot for me. How polite.
That was very polite of them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I seem to have lagged out of the game.
Oh, I may have stolen your spot, Oracle. Excellent. Everything is going according to plan.
No!
Wow. Good one, Oracle.
Oh,
I
man.
didn't even notice, like, what's going on.
Well, I swear you were still in it when I swear it was you, Rob's kidney, and Oracle when I clicked on the bottom slot.
Rob's kidney?
No, Dan's kidney. My apologies.
Rob's kidney?
No, Dan's kidney. Remember, we had this conversation last time.
At least you didn't say Rob's gallbladder.
Gallbladder. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Shut up, guys!
The Constantinople does indeed get taken out. Now, first off, Kirk, as this fight continues, it is actually very split so far. We've had a lot of cakes in and out during this evening, a lot of really good activity so far. How are you feeling now that we passed the 6-month mark of the progress and everything you've seen from the Iron Fork?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, I wasn't around for the actual event, but a bunch of Cakes and I were hanging out on the Mumble, a bunch of the management team. We were just hanging out on the Mumble, chilling, having a good time, and I left once again to go get something to eat. And apparently, Kivias invaded our Mumble. I might be getting some of these details wrong because this is secondhand story from Jacob.
Oh my god!
But Kivias apparently invaded our Mumble, and it's just like, hey guys, can we put the Iron Fork on the official events thing?
Yeah.
And we were like, I don't know, we'll have to think about that. But no, we were all over it. So, I mean, you guys may have noticed it. If you go into in-game, if you go into the community tab at the bottom, there's a bunch of events.
It's right up top there right now.
Yeah, well, because it's coming up the soonest, most recently. Right now, this moment is happening. But
no, we
there
didn't
are
notice.
4 events.
Yeah,
and,
we didn't notice it with our logo on it and everything. Didn't notice it at all.
Nope, we haven't mentioned it like 8 times.
Yeah, we're a little bit excited. I'm back in game.
Oh my god!
Excellent.
Good news. And looks like nothing has happened. The scores have not budged.
Yeah, unfortunately, the brawl on C went absolutely nowhere for either team. Though if Corvo is smart here, it will leave the Arundel to limp along at its leisure and not get the kill. Looks like Corvo is going for the kill, though.
Yeah, he's got that bloodlust. I can feel that. I can relate to that.
Constantinople right now, you notice, it completely left all the fighting and went straight to the point, using its speed to just get there sooner than everyone else. And the other red ships have the blue ships tied up in combat. Finally, we're going to see the scores budge after what has it been, like
a little bit here.
It's been like 10 minutes now.
Kirk, you have to be pretty happy with what the Constantinople is all about right now. Not only does it have everything from a carronade to a GAT and a mine launcher on it, but it has B'Elanna back on it, whom you just recently got back from a little bit of a hiatus.
Yes, B'Elanna's been going around. You know, there's been stuff going on, but B'Elanna has signed back up with Cake for hopefully a while. We're trying to get the competitive scene reinvigorated, and it.
Ooh, Constantinople.
No, don't get flamed, my friend. But we're happy that she's back on. She's doing a lot of good work for us in the competitive scene, and hopefully we get this reinvigorated and up in time for Hephaestus.
Absolutely. Nothing official about that yet.
No, nothing official. But just if anyone asks, just say little birdie. Ooh, rammed out. A little birdie told you.
Little birdie rammed out.
Little birdie rammed out. That's your quote. Little birdie. Ooh, rammed out.
Deflationary policy trying to stop the cap on this point, but the Corvo's not going to have any of it.
Oh, rammed into that wall. That's going to destroy their backwards momentum.
Great use of the Corvo's armaments there. But back on topic really quick. B'Elanna, amazing engineer, amazing organizer, and we are so glad to hear that she is back with the Cake, folks.
Oh, you're glad. I'm glad.
You had to do paperwork.
I had to do all the menial labor. I'm above that.
That sounds horrible. Wow. I feel like a bad person.
I can say that because everyone knows I'm joking. We don't do paperwork. Oh, but yes, Iron Fork up in the community events. It makes us all very happy. There are 4 events right now, and 3 of them begin with the word dev. So,
Yeah.
The Iron Fork.
Yes. I'm hoping that like the Hephaestus that the Hephaestus ends up on there,
no more.
or the
Nope.
maybe not quite tournament.
Nope. We're not
Nothing.
saying. Nope, we don't talk about that.
you guys didn't hear anything. I didn't mention it. Oracle didn't mention it.
No.
Wait, what about
You didn't
Festivus?
see anything.
Shut up, you guys.
But yeah, so we're the first.
What was it? What was it? The Artemis, the Dionysus. What?
No, stop it.
Happy
Olympus something-
Festivus!
Oh yeah,
A Festivus for the rest of us.
Sure. The fight is moving on to E, where deflationary policy and Constantinople have already met on it. Hummingbird is also quickly approaching it. This could be a deciding point. If the red team can get a very strong hold on E for at least 100 seconds, it's going to put them desperately close to that 550 point mark.
I don't think that's going to happen. The Blues already got 2 ships set down, and Constantinople's not in a happy place with the policy. The Hummingbird is just ready to cap that point before Red can sneak in.
I'm still like Constantinople had impact bumpers up, and that Hawachis still ate through it like a hot knife through butter.
I don't think impact bumpers do anything to help your hull against anything other than ramming.
yeah. It only helps with.
I thought it slowed
scrapes.
down explosive damage.
No, everyone would be using it.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, it's just bumps and scrapes.
Yeah,
Well,
it also reduces mine damage because a lot of that damage is from the bump.
Impact.
Yep.
I guess that's true. I always assumed it just. I mean, that makes sense when you think about it. I always thought of it as just not moving your ship as much. But yeah.
Yeah,
would
it
take
also
down impact.
reduces damage.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm gonna run some
but
minefields in my galleon now. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh no!
Deflationary policy in a fair bit of trouble. The Corvos come in, and it came in at just the right angle. Man, this is what a Metamidian can do if you let it do its thing.
Red team has a very good opportunity here. If Corvo can finish off the deflationary policy in the next 10 seconds, it's going to put them very, very close to that win.
Yeah, Lucas makes a point. Like, the Festus Challenge got an official announcement.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it's on the forums.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because there is the
Just the
cap.
logo. I think just the logo request is there.
The logo and the name. You can say the name. Everything's
Woo! Yay!
fine. Oh my god.
You guys!
You guys
Like,
don't even-
don't say anything, Fourth Oracle! You can't let everyone know that...
I said it first, and everyone's like, "Let's just let Kirk have his thing here." And as soon as Oracle brings it up, Dan freaks out.
No, I hushed both of you with all due respect.
You didn't hush me. I kept going.
Yep, there's the URL in chat.
Thank you, Lucas. Well, I look like a dick now.
God damn. Next time it's just gonna be me and Oracle up here.
Don't worry. You always look like a dick. You always
I
look like a
agree.
dick.
Next week, next week, Dan, it's just going to be me, Oracle, and your liver up here casting.
Okay.
We just fired you.
I thought it was his kidney.
I don't know what you are. What are you? Make up your mind, Hat Dan.
Hummingbird putting pressure
I'm
on
my own man. Damn it.
Hummingbird putting pressure on the Constantinople and Corvo to sit on that point, while the deflationary policy moves to engage the Orinoco on A.
The Hummingbird has got 2 people taking that hole, but it's not enough.
Nope.
They're done.
50 ways to leave your liver.
What? Is that the song?
Did we just synchronize there, Dan?
Yeah.
I
We synchronized in
in confusion.
Have you guys never heard that song? 50 ways to leave your lover?
Yeah, but it's not liver, it's love.
That's the joke.
That's the joke.
Although I will say this. No, actually, I can't make that joke. I can't make that joke.
Yeah, because it brings up the Hephaestus tournament, which we're not supposed to talk
Yeah,
about.
come on, Dan. Jeez, don't you know?
Liver let die.
Oh, there you go.
I quit. I
Oh,
quit.
I
I'm
like that.
done.
All right, see ya. So, Oracle, you have a
Wow.
nice Friday.
Oh my god.
Congratulations, we've won Puns of Icarus.
Puns of Icarus online.
Sons of Icarus.
I'm using that. I'm totally using that everywhere now.
Oh my god. Red team will be at just about 525 points, putting them 25 points off of a victory at the end of this cap. Very close.
Yeah,
Very
Red
close.
needs one more point, and they've got themselves a nice little victory.
Corvo and the Constantinople are coming in to assist the Orinoco. Deflationary policy getting ripped to shreds. That Hawacha doing everything in its power. The Orinoco is heavily disabled at this point, but it survived.
Yeah,
which
they
is
managed to
the-
keep their Banshee online, which put in that last little rocket to take
Yep.
it down.
Yep. Constantinople coming in to try and hide behind the Orinoco and the silo here.
Is the Hummingbird going to be able to get in? Ed, if he goes a little bit lower, he's going to miss the
Hummingbird,
cone.
yeah, Hummingbird is
Yeah, the
way too
Orinoco's
high.
trying to body block, though.
Oh,
He's gonna be able to do
denied,
it.
and I think yep,
Yes!
Oh!
Great body block.
there's going to need to be quite the frontal assault from blue team with a touch of luck for them to be able to turn it around at
We're
this
getting
point.
to the point of no return here very quickly.
Yeah.
Yep, we're 60 seconds away from Red Team achieving victory, and right now the only ship that seems to be able to do anything right now is the Hummingbird, but the Corvo is not going to have any of that tripe.
You know what? I'm voting for the blue team here. Let me /kill all red. Enter. Oh, well, it looks like my dev hacks have been disabled. I'll have to talk to someone
did you
about
lose
that.
your mod abilities?
I may have lost my dev hacks. Oh darn! Who should I talk
Oh,
to?
shit.
About that? Oh man, that was gonna be quite the reveal too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Man,
Ah, man, this is just straight up embarrassing. Well, I'll tell you what isn't embarrassing. The red team's victory, well deserved. I only saw the second half of that, unfortunately, but it looked like it was bitter fought and well
It
deserved.
was hard fought and a very long game.
yeah,
A very long game.
This game is coming up on like 45 minutes or something.
Just a little less than that. I think like 40.
Oh man,
Yeah.
wasn't there one Crazy King on Fernfield that went on with Jacob for like an hour, Dan, at one point, if I remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ish.
Also,
Yeah,
if you guys
I
will
was
remember,
there.
if you guys remember the first ever cast that Ace ever did,
Oh my gosh, I remember that
Hour-
one. It was on Melon Squid.
hour-long battle on the dunes.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
Ish, ash, oosh, ash.
Yeah, I felt bad for him because he'd never casted before that, but
Hey, Trial by Fire.
yeah.
See what I did there? See? See?
Consent, yeah, Iron Fork. Exactly.
Fire? Yeah. Huh? No?
That's what we got going on here.
Either way, that's going to close up the Iron Fork for today.
Yes, it will. With that being said, congratulations, Kirk, on being the first non-dev event listed on the community webpage.
Well, thank you very much. It was hard fought. Required many bribes in the forms of birthday cakes, ritualistically sent to Muse every 3 weeks for years.
You mean year?
Years, plural. We were sending them before. We're like, okay, we're gonna make a thing called cake, and we want community events.
We don't know where.
We've been planning this out since the beginning, and the climax of the cake takeover is just arriving upon us.
Hail Hydra.
Hail the holy ovens of the bakery!
Do you think that's cake you're eating? Good, someone got it at least.
Soylent cake is people! Therein lies the problem.
Soylent Peep is Cakel.
You blew it up, you damn dirty cake!
Luke, I am a cake. I'll be cake.
He who controls the cake controls the universe.
Oh, shut up, Oracle. You're fired.
Oh, come on.
Now it's just me and Hat down here. We're gonna have to run the show ourselves. We're the only ones still employed.
You'll be fine. Rob isn't even employed in the first place.
Hey.
We pay him with orange peels.
Rob, how many times have I fired you?
I can't count.
Exactly. You're not even employed here anymore.
Just that guy that keeps showing up. Hey guys, can I have a nickel if I work all day?
What, an intern?
Oh my God. Okay, so with that being said, Kirk, is there anything else you'd like to say about your wonderful kicks before we close out the broadcast?
Please
Kirk
start
loves
with Captain's
Kirk loves you almost as much as he loves fire.
Wow.
Yeah, and I mean it. I mean every word of that.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be streaming on my own personal stream, but Rob and Dan, are you guys doing anything after this?
Rob, are you doing anything?
Yeah, I'm answering some questions in the chat.
Oh, well, there we go.
Dan, are you taking over the stream, though? Because
No,
I need to go and
I need to
eat
eat dinner.
too. We both need to eat. Okay. I'll just
I
jump in the
streamed
chat
this
and answer.
morning, too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But you should do some Binding of Isaac, though.
I've got afternoon that I have to go and take care of.
Fine, answer your questions, see if I care.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us here on the Iron Fork of Friday on Twitch at ITV. So that's the Rob and Dan Show. You can join us again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. EST. For Kirk, Oracle, and Rob, I have been Dan. Thank you for joining us this evening. Good night now.
Happy birthday.